is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2, Welcome to DBL, everyone. It's Tuesday, March 30th. I'm Tori here with Lindsay and Al. Good to see you both.
What's going on?
What's going on? Lindsay, always great shoes. Can't see them,
Can't see them, but you know, thank you.
They're fantastic. All right, we are going to continue. We're not going to let up. This is DBL, after all, to follow the murder trial for Derek Chauvin. So one of the witnesses testifying today is the young girl, you might remember her, who filmed the video of George Floyd's arrest. She was 17 at the time, so they're not showing video of her, but here is some of her testimony from earlier this morning. Take a look.
So was there any point in your video, whether it's 9 or 10 minutes, that Mr. Chauvin ever let up or got up off of the neck of Mr. Floyd that you saw?
No, if anything, he actually was kneeling harder. Looked like he was shoving his knee in his neck, like he was feeding off of our energy.
He was on the neck.
Another witness, this is a mixed martial arts fighter who testified that Chauvin was using a technique that he knew designed to cut George Floyd's air circulation. Here's some of what he said yesterday.
The officer on top was shimmying to actually get the final choke in while he was on top to get the kill choke. He looked at me right here. It's the only time he looked at me. When I said it was a blood choke, it's the only time he looked up. We looked each other dead in our eyes. Yeah, and when I said it, he acknowledged it.
We also heard testimony from a 911 dispatcher who watched the live video from the scene and called the officer's supervisor because she felt, quote, something wasn't right. She also thought at one point the video was paused or stuck because he didn't get off the neck. The right to breathe is on trial here, is what a lot of people are saying. Lindsay, how do you feel?
I think that the mixed martial arts fighter, his name is Donald Williams, his testimony stuck out to me because he said the blankness in Chauvin's eyes. He kind of was looking at him and he said, you know, I felt the need to call the police on the police because I felt no connection. Like no connection with somebody who's supposed to be protecting and serving you. And then you heard his 911 call and he's like, 987, there's a man who's not resisting arrest with a knee on his neck. Right, so I'm listening to all this testimony and I'm wondering, for the people that are saying that Derek Chauvin did nothing wrong and that George Floyd had complications prior to this, what would it take for a healthy man to have a knee on their neck? How many minutes would you say that would be fair for a healthy person to have a knee on their neck that you would be okay with?
Wow, I can tell you feel it, no?
I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, I know we have to go through a trial and go through a fair trial and do everything, due process, but I'm watching this and you're seeing people of color take the stand and just try to be human up there and not let their emotions overly take over how they're feeling and really try to tell a jury without too much emotion about what exactly happened. And it's just hard to relive this entire thing from last year all over again.
Yeah, it's very traumatizing. To be honest, we saw allegedly a murder. All of America saw it. I mean, it's rare to see the murder sort of live, and we sort of watched the man breathe his last breath. That's why it's sort of traumatizing, I think, to everybody.
Yeah, I think that, you know, because I've thought about the fact that we've seen, unfortunately, a lot of these. The Tamir Rice video was readily available. Eric Garner, readily available. But this was that weird time, and I'm not trying to make this analogous to the Tiger King, but I think that that was a documentary that would have just come and gone like anything. But there was this 2-week period where everybody in the world, basically, was at home, not just America.
Yeah.
And I think that the Tiger King got so much traction because everybody's like, what is this weird thing where if you're working 2 jobs, you would have never seen that.
Right.
And with this, broad daylight, you could see the expression on his face. Usually video is like somebody's running, body cam shaking, and this was so clear. There was obviously, no, he wasn't reaching for anything, all the old tropes, he reached for my gun. There was none of that. He was face down, and I think that's why it resonates so much with everybody. And I do want to say, you spoke about the MMA witness. I thought about the 17-year-old girl that
me too.
filmed the murder.
Yeah.
Then took so much backlash from people that were just so angry that they were like, then people went after her saying, why didn't you do anything? Right. Traumatized her again, and now she has to be re-traumatized in court. So that's a lot before your 18th birthday.
Yeah, that scarred her from that moment on. She'll never ever stop living that. I think I will always remember the mama when he asked for his mama.
Yeah,
because she wasn't even living I mean, she's already passed. That summoned all the mamas was one sign that I saw. All right, we are also moving on to some shocking new video of an attack on an Asian woman in New York City. This is going to be a warning to our viewers. What we're about to show you is graphic and may be disturbing to some viewers. So security camera footage shows a woman walking past a building in Midtown when she is randomly attacked. A man kicks her to the ground. He then stomps on her head and kicks her in the face repeatedly before leaving the scene. 2 security officers who witnessed the attack stood by and were not seen offering any help. Police are still looking for the suspect you see here in another shot from a security camera in the area. The woman was stable when she was taken to a hospital, but reportedly suffered a fractured pelvis. Meantime, the 2 security guards seen in the video have been suspended by the management company pending an investigation. So the question is, what would you do if you saw this happen? And I mean this, think about it. Don't just hear this as a news thing. What would you do if you saw this happen? And should there be consequences for doing nothing? Wow. I didn't want to see that video before now, and I just did. And God, a lot of traumatizing video out there. What do you think, Linz?
I think when you're talking about somebody who's in a position of authority seeing this happen, then they can step in and do something, right? That's actually your job. But when you're talking about, like Al just talked about, the 17-year-old girl, to ask pedestrians to do the job of police officers or to do the job of security in different establishments, I mean, you're trained to protect people. So I think those are 2 different roles. And yes, it's a good Samaritan that runs and saves the day, but not everybody has that fight or flight knee-jerk reaction.
What scares me, though, is I want to be a doctor. You saw me at a restaurant, like, go up to a man who's like, I'm not choking, and I was going to help him.
That was your natural instinct.
Right.
I know my tie is crazy.
Your tie looks crazy, but it's fine.
Okay, I look like I just came from happy hour.
I didn't notice until you just said that.
It looks insane, but you look
2
fine.
minutes from getting here in our EPs, like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm trying to fix my tie.
There's a tie issue.
It's worse.
It looks way worse. Go ahead.
It's a new style.
Yeah.
Over to the
I have
side.
to loosen it. But, you know, honestly, you know, there's the fight or flight that you would expect from any citizen. Some people run towards, some people run away. But these are 3 grown men that have been getting a paycheck for years to do this. And it appeared that the one man walked up and was reaching for the door to shut it, which is, well, what are we paying security for at that point? So I don't know. Don't we have some extra, when we deputize people to be security, to have that mantra, to be able to question you, to be able to say, hey, excuse me, ma'am, where are you going? With that question comes the privilege of being able to ask that question, but also some responsibility. And if you're able to ask that question, people, you need to be able to step in if somebody's choking, if somebody is in distress, if somebody's in whatever. That's your job.
I agree. But if you guys don't know the Kitty Genovese case, that famous case in New York, I believe in the 70s. Am I right, Chris? Anyway, she was screaming for help and was stabbed, and no one in the apartment building called for help, even though they all heard. It's a very famous case about being a good Samaritan. So please reach out if you can and you feel safe to. Well, switching gears here, here's some video you don't see every day. People playing volleyball in front of an active volcano. This video was taken in Iceland, where a lot of people have been going to see the molten lava flowing from the mountain. Look at that. I wonder if they spiked it. That doesn't make...
That didn't make... Is that a volcano reference?
Yeah, no.
I didn't get
Al,
it, but it was...
What are you doing? Look at Al, everybody. Al.
It's bothering me.
Okay.
But I do think people...
Just take it off and get your point off while you take it off.
Seriously, get your point off.
I think that people in other countries have different reactions to natural disasters. I think that they live closer to that volcano than anybody, like from me, like Cleveland.
Right.
So it just seems like they're not as pressed, and I think we saw that literally.
Okay, we're going to move on from you because you look crazy.
Talking
about having a bad day. A man was also shocked to discover his car had been taken over by, this is my worst nightmare, a swarm of more than 15,000 bees, all while he was just shopping inside a store. The bees had invaded his back seat, according to police. I know. An off-duty firefighter who happened to be also a beekeeper came and safely relocated all of the bees. It took about 2 hours, and only one person suffered a bee sting, a security officer at the supermarket. Lindsay?
This is my nightmare. I'll deal with a volcano before I deal with bugs.
Would you spike the
bees go in the bugs, and I just can't. This is my worst nightmare.
My aunt's a beekeeper, and they calmly walk in to the swarm.
No.
I can't even.
No. It just seems like, you know, Lindsay, you're like, you have an issue with bees. It seems like for whatever you have an issue with, there's somebody that gravitates towards that. Like for me, I can't watch the free climbing with people with their hands on the side of a mountain.
Oh, it makes you nervous.
And other people are like, that's all I want to do with my life. It's so interesting.
You know what? I can't watch your IFB hanging out from your ear looking crazy. That's enough.
We'll get it together in the next portion of the show.
No, we promise.
We're staying like this.
It's
rest
like
of the show, I'm not moving. I'm doubling down.
Double it down. Coming up on DBL, a new twist in the satanic saga of Lil Nas X. We'll tell you why Nike is now suing over his devilish sneakers, and a stunning new report in the middle of Holy Week. Are fewer Americans really going to church? The possible reasons why, coming up next. Closed captioning.
We want to take you on an inside look at the courtroom where the trial will take place. Because of COVID concerns, there are limits to many things you would normally see. Starting off, everyone will be required to wear a mask. Only one print reporter and one TV reporter are allowed in each day. So all media will share a stream of 3 cameras set up in the courtroom. One will show the podium where both the prosecution and defense attorneys will argue their sides. The next will show the tables where Derek Chauvin will be sitting with his team, the others 4 state attorneys. The third camera will show the judge and any witnesses being examined. Here's something that has not changed. No one from the jury can be shown at any point, but they will be present in socially distanced seats. Others in the courtroom will be a judge's clerk and a court reporter who will transcribe the proceedings. Also new during this trial, no family members can be shown in the gallery. That's the area that is normally full of spectators. Only one member of the Chauvin family is allowed each day, as well as only one member from George Floyd's family. So you won't see a normally packed courtroom for a high-profile trial, just a few key people.
Welcome back to DBL. Big shout out to our coworkers tuning in from home during the pandemic. Can't wait to give you a squeeze. Look at Mark Kaplan with a little headband on.
No, look at me. I got my tie situation together.
Woo!
Yay!
Feels like a Friday on a Tuesday.
I brought this 4 drinks in at the open bar wedding. Whenever the tie comes off, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go.
That's when my heels come off. That's me.
The heels come up. All right. For the very first time ever, a majority of Americans, tell me if you agree with this, say that they do not belong to any sort of organized religion. As long as Gallup has been polling Americans, a majority of respondents say they're members of houses of worship. So this includes churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples. That's until this past year. In 2020, only 47% of Americans say they belong to a house of worship. That is down from 50% in 2018, and as recently as 1999, 70% of Americans said they belong to some sort of organized religion. Now, Gallup said the fall in membership was due to an increasing number of Americans who say they have no religious preference. But DBL Nation, we really want to know what you think about this. Are you a member of a church, a synagogue, a mosque? Do you still attend? Are you observant? Go to dblvote.com to let us know. I mean, I can tell you 4 reasons right now why the next generation is more secular, including predators inside religious organizations. Anyone else want to bring? I mean, I have a lot of anger towards people that are expected to attend an organized religion that is sought you out as being different if you're gay, said you're going to hell if you don't believe what they do, and also have a strong background of molestation in many different organizations.
Those are like the extreme examples, and I understand that.
And it also wasn't 4, but go ahead, Lynn.
That was 3. but the other side is just like the 2020 poll, like, yeah, we didn't leave the house in 2020. So virtual church is not really the same thing as actually showing up.
That's interesting.
And then for me, like moving to different cities over my adult life, like finding a church that you actually like and feel aligned with is a really tough thing. So sooner or later, I don't know if it's not religious or just like I believe in God, I'm not going to be going to this church. You know, I don't have to actually show up, change for people as they are flexible with their lives. I don't really know what happened, but I know that a lot of people are just kind of studying tons of religion and deciding where they want to align instead of being like, if you're not Catholic,
like indoctrinated.
You're going to hell. Yeah,
right.
You know, it just is kind of a change.
I think we're just going to grow up more scientific and secular as an entire generation below us. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying this to insult people of faith, because my mom, my grandmother, everybody totally respect it. But I will say this: we're talking about why you would go and why you wouldn't, but we're not talking about the fact that it's almost the same way that every year we go, why are the Grammy ratings down? Why is the MTV Award ratings down? It's because there's more stuff to watch and there's more stuff to do now. Honestly, now people are going to their brunch meetings. Brandon is going to be somewhere watching a soccer game that's on in England at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. There's more things to do. And because of that, people are pulled in different directions, and that kind of becomes your religion. If every Sunday you get together and get your fantasy football league together and have some beers and watch the games, that's your religion, whether you want to look at it like that or not. So I think the fact that people's time is being pulled in different ways, they're like, I believe in God, but I'm not going.
I'm not observing it, right?
So I don't think it
way.
has anything to do with religion. It's more stuff.
Interesting. All right, let's see. Final vote. Are you a member of a church or a mosque? 42% say yes, and 57% say no. So similar and congruous to the poll we actually saw, the survey. I just think it's science-based. That's what's changing. Everything's going to just be more science-based.
My religion is watching you lean forward and try and read the poll. It's like you're trying to tell our viewers a secret.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to DBL. Well, CBS is shutting down rumors that Sharon Osbourne received a payout of up to $10 million for leaving the talk. Last week, the network said Sharon had decided to leave the show. This comes after she defended her friend Piers Morgan over comments he made about Meghan Markle. That led to a heated exchange with her co-host Cheryl Underwood about race. Sharon later told Entertainment Tonight that she was set up by CBS executives and was blindsided on air when she saw that all the other co-hosts had been given questions directed at her. Does she deserve a big payout? Thoughts?
I think she deserves whatever her contract says, but I just think she deserved to leave, because I'm looking at this story and I'm like, okay, this is not the first time you said something disparaging allegedly about Asian people. We saw you on air berating another co-host that was black. She said that Meghan Markle isn't black according to how she looks because she judges the barometer for what's black and what's not. She's done so much that is offensive, and then she tries to blame it on producers. She said, you know, they set me up with these questions. Well, if you're going to be silly enough to go on air and do something that somebody tells you to do as opposed to voicing your actual opinion, then you're a fool and you deserve to be fired, because you're on national television and you're saying something that's borderline racist or racist to many people, and then you're okay with that just because your boss asked you to do it. That's silly. So, I mean, her going is really ridiculous.
I think also what you said is so important. You guys don't know, but when you throw a producer, when you just throw producers under the bus, they do all of this. We're just sitting here like talking. Producers really do all the work. That's the worst thing you can do, to
and
just
you actually
throw
can
them
say,
under the
I'm
bus.
not saying that. You actually can say, I'm not comfortable with that question. You actually can say, I wouldn't feel
on air.
You can say that to the producer before you get to air. And if you don't read the questions before you get to air or read the commentary, then that's on you as a host of a television show.
Wow. All right.
I mean,
Al, do you think the same as Lindsay?
Lindsay, honestly, you were done after you said pay out what our contract says.
Right. That's
we get a lot into emotion with these stories, as we should, as our viewers do. But it's about contracts. That lawyers run the world, and that's why people are so worried about canceled, and they shouldn't have canceled him, and they didn't cancel like Tucker Carlson because he still gets eyeballs. They did the math, realized that the negative attention that she brings isn't worth what she generates. They'll pay her contract out. This is math. This is lawyers. This is contracts. And honestly, if I was her, I'd go down with the ship. I'd be like, I meant what I said. Now that I was set up and it was a hoax, I'd be like, no, that's what I meant.
And you can't base contracts off of emotion. If the contract says you have to pay that woman $10 million, pay her.
But you think if she
Kelly gets 69? She got 69
yeah,
million.
let's not talk about that.
You know, if you do make a contract, maybe say if you violate the moral clause, you don't get the payout. Like, just maybe add that so that that's interesting. You know what I mean?
It's hard to legislate morals, though, or put it into a contract.
Well, you can put a morals clause for sure in a contract, and I think that definitely is what some people violate when they do that. All right, let us know what you guys think, Facebook and YouTube. We have no time for Lil Nas X, but we will be on our website. So you want to see that story, check it out online. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
We're talking about Ever Given, a 1,300 12-foot-long container ship that's nearly as long as the Empire State Building is tall. The 220-ton ship was grounded at the Suez Canal for 6 days. So why are we talking about this? Well, there are claims that indicate the blockage caused the global economy to lose $400 million an hour. Yeah, so let's verify. Could the grounding of Ever Given have caused the economy to lose $400 million an hour? Our sources: Paul Hong, Distinguished University Professor of Global Supply Chain Management and Asian Studies at the University of Toledo, and Lisa Anderson, founder and president of LMA Consulting Group, a supply chain consulting company.
The supply chain was already out of alignment. So now that we have the Suez Canal, it pretty much means that it's gotten even more out of alignment.
First, let's talk about how much trade goes through the Suez Canal daily.
There's about $10 million worth of trade that actually flow through daily.
And Anderson agrees. A little quick math actually gets us to $416 million an hour of total global trade halted during the grounding of Ever Given. So we can verify that this claim is true, but actually underestimates the amount of total global trade lost per hour. So what about these claims that toilet paper and coffee will be in short supply because of Ever Given? Well, according to both Anderson and Hong, that's false.
People think that toilet papers are coming from China mainly, but I think toilet paper is primarily from Canada and Mexico, so toilet paper would not be that affected.
Anderson agrees that toilet paper won't be impacted like it was during the beginning of the pandemic.
Toilet paper was more of a panic buy, so people aren't going to necessarily do a panic buy over the missing materials.
According to Hong, 10% of the total coffee trade comes through the Suez Canal, so he says that industry could be slightly impacted.
The impact of a coffee is really there, but it may not be huge.
Over the last few months, Anderson says manufacturing and shipping costs have increased across multiple industries, so any increase in coffee price will likely have more to do with those than the grounding of Ever Given at the Suez Canal.
They've been absorbing some of it, but they're also starting to pass them on to consumers. And I think that for sure it is likely to lead to some inflation over time, for sure.
So we can verify, yes, the claim about the grounding of Ever Given costing the global economy approximately $400 million an hour is true. But there's no need to worry that toilet paper will be out of stock, and unless your favorite coffee comes from Vietnam or Indonesia, you're in the clear as well. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Welcome back to DBL. It's finally spring, although it's snowing in Denver. And it's finally time to think about your home. Did you know a well-maintained yard actually helps protect against common homeowners insurance claims? Well, we're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck presented by The Hartford. So first up, clean out your gutters. That prevents blockage that could send water into your home. Second, regularly mow that lawn. It can lower wildfire risk, especially if you live in a dry climate. Finally, plants within 5 feet of your home should be fleshy and moist, which are less likely to catch fire. When it comes to quality and affordable home insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions, so call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more. I didn't know that about the fleshy and moist plants. I can't believe I said that out loud.
I'll be calling you guys about all the house tips in a couple of months here. So.
Yeah, you're gonna love mowing your lawn. It's the best.
I'm gonna love.
Yes.
I'm mowing no lawn.
On and you just go.
It's true. It is very
kinda, no one can
meditative.
Reach you. It's very just like your own time.
Very meditative. All right, we got some comments and I want to read them. They're important. This is about Chauvin. This is Miller from Facebook. It was very difficult to watch George Floyd die again yesterday. This was the clearest video and audio that I've seen. It made me angry and physically ill. This was murder, period. Tony said, I watched it once and it was so disturbing. I had to go to trauma therapy and I'm still in that a year later. So yeah, traumatizing. This could be triggering to many people. So don't feel embarrassed at all if that did happen to you. A lot of people writing in that the security guards, including Joanne, should be fired, not just suspended, for not helping out during that Asian attack.
What are you securing?
Code for fired, suspended, because they do that.
No, that is not. They still get pay at some point. I want them gone.
And I think it's hard, when you just came out of such a long year and we kind of are past it where we're growing and hopefully learning about how to stop Asian violence, learning how to support Black people, and then we're watching this trial over and over again. It really is tough, I think, for most people to rewatch and rehear about these stories.
Absolutely, but it's necessary because I want justice. Well, goodbye to our coworkers at home. When the pandemic's over, we'll be back together again in the studio. We're new every day, guys. DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
Well, I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
Yeah. You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now.
Of the Derek Chauvin trial as the first witnesses come forward, including an MMA fighter who said he watched George Floyd die.
He was lifeless. He didn't move. He didn't speak.
An Asian woman brutally beaten as people appear to just look on. Why didn't they do anything? Sharon Osbourne exits the talk. Will she get a massive $10 million payout? And does she deserve it? And Mira Sorvino live on DBL today. Don't miss our interview with the Oscar-winning actress.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, March 30th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. Let's get right to it because we are continuing to follow the murder trial for Derek Chauvin. One of the witnesses testifying today is the young girl who filmed the video of George Floyd's arrest. She was 17 years old at the time, so they are not showing video of her. But here is some of her testimony from earlier this morning.
So was there any point in your video, whether it's 9 or 10 minutes, that Mr. Chauvin ever let up or got up off of the neck of Mr. Floyd that you saw?
No, if anything, he actually was kneeling harder. Looked like he was shoving his knee in his neck, like he was feeding off of our energy.
Another witness is this mixed martial arts fighter who testified that Chauvin was using a technique designed to cut off air circulation. Here is some of what he said yesterday.
The officer on top was shimmying to actually get the final choke in while he was on top to get the kill choke. He looked at me right here. It's the only time he looked at me. When I said it was a blood choke, it's the only time he looked up. We looked each other dead in our eyes. Yeah, and when I said it, he acknowledged it.
We also heard testimony from a 911 dispatcher who watched the live video from the scene and called the officer's supervisor because she felt, quote, something wasn't right. Wow. Al, what did you think of the witness testimony? First of all, we were all, to some degree, witnesses since we had all seen that video. But what did you think of their testimony?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, and I'm going to relate this to the Tiger King, but I'm not going to, make light of this. I think the Tiger King gained so much traction because it was this weird time in the world where everybody in the world was at home. And so this random documentary about tigers became a national phenomenon. And this was the same thing with this trial. We all watched. But this is the first time we've been able to hear from the witnesses, the people that had boots on the ground. They seemed credible. They seemed lucid. And Jeff, I thought about the young lady that filmed it because not only did she film a man's death, but she was then re-traumatized because a lot of people with so much anger then went after her for saying, why didn't you help? She then had to seek mental help. And now she has to, before her 18th birthday, go back on the stand and talk about this again. And I worry about that young woman.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what we think. I think our minds are made up, right? And by us, I mean just the community around us.
The people, yes.
And when the prosecution talks, they're going to say C. When the defense talks, they're going to say C. And they're going to want their theory proven right. It doesn't matter about us. It matters about the jury right now and what's going to happen. It's down to 12 people now what happens with the rest of this case. And hopefully we'll find out in 4 weeks.
Tori, what do you make of it?
I think Jeff's right, it really doesn't matter what we think, but certain details that I heard will influence the juror, and one of them was that the 911 operator allegedly thought the tape had stopped because it was so much pressure for so long that she thought there was a malfunction in the video camera. Those types of details give you chills, but they also convince jurors of intent, of negligence, these things that they need to prove in order to get it across. I think also, it's strange that at the end, we all saw a murder, and when he called for his mama, I don't think anyone can forget hearing that. And it's someone held a sign that said, he summoned all mamas when he said mama.
Well said, Tori. Heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And he screamed out, "I can't breathe," 29 times. All right, so there is some shocking new video of an attack on an Asian woman in New York City. So a warning to our viewers. What we're about to show you is a graphic, and it definitely is going to be disturbing to some viewers. So I want you to take a moment if you want to turn or pause the channel, leave the room. So here we go. Security camera footage shows a woman walking past a building in Midtown Manhattan when she is randomly attacked. Wow. A man kicks her to the ground. He then stomps on her head, kicks her in the face repeatedly before leaving the scene. If you also notice, there's 2 security officers who witnessed the attack. They stood by and were not seen offering any help. Police are still looking for the suspect who you see here. Look at that image. Do you recognize this person? And this is also from a shot from a security camera in the area. Now, the woman was stable when she was taken to the hospital, but she reportedly suffered a fractured pelvis. Meantime, those 2 security guards seen in the video have been suspended by the management company pending an investigation. So the question is, what would you do if you saw this happening? And should there be any consequences, Al, for doing nothing, especially if you're a security guard?
I mean, I hope I can speak for most of our audience when I say, what would I do? And the answer is not nothing. Not nothing.
Right.
I mean, it looked like, Jeff, that he got up to close the door. And I've lived in New York for 5 years, and you know, you see a lot of crazy things. You tune things out that are happening a foot from you on the subway. I get that. But when you see a human being that I feel like could have been killed. I mean, one more kick to the head, that could have been it right there. The fact that they didn't do anything, there have to be consequences. I think losing their job is the least of them.
Yeah, I think we're asking the wrong question. There should definitely be consequences for these security guards. How about this sick man who did this? He's gigantic. The security guards, I don't even want to talk about security guards. They should be fired and dealt with in their own time. How about we talk about finding this man?
Yes.
How about that? What would you do if you're a security guard? I don't care what I would do. I wasn't there. This man kicked an innocent woman's face in multiple times and broke her pelvis. How about we focus our attention on what's going on right here and get this person off the street, because it's disgusting.
Well said. Let's put up that picture real quick. Everybody, if you know who this person is, please contact New York Police Department. Please, let's find this person. We're going to switch gears here. Here's some video you don't see every day. People playing volleyball in front of an active volcano. Wow. This video was taken in Iceland, where a lot of people have been going to see the molten lava flowing from the mountain. Tori, would you be running? Would you think this is cool? What would you do, Tori?
I've actually, ever since Joe versus the volcano, always wanted to get a little close to one. But again, it's not too hot. Like in Hawaii, you can get pretty close while the lava's oozing. You just have to be pretty careful. Great movie, by the way.
Joe versus the volcano with Tom Hanks,
yes,
right?
We're referencing movies that are 33 years old.
And Meg Ryan.
And Meg Ryan.
Do you ever read Jack Handy?
Yeah.
When he's got one that says, if you ever drop your keys in lava, forget about it, man, because they're gone.
I love it. Okay, so talk about having a bad day. A man was shocked to discover his car had been taken over by a swarm of more than 15,000 bees, all while he was shopping inside a store. The bees had invaded his back seat, according to police. An off-duty firefighter, who happened to also be a beekeeper, came and safely relocated all of the bees. It took about 2 hours. Only one person suffered a bee sting, a security officer at the supermarket. Al, what would you do if you returned to your car and found it was covered in bees?
Go to the dealership and get a new car?
It's not the dealership's fault.
I'm not ever getting that car again. Something about it is attracting 15,000 bees. Like, let's call that a wash.
You would immediately dismiss that car.
I can't get back in it. What, am I going to park it again and let it happen again? I can't. Or what if it's when I'm driving? I can't. I'm
Albert,
done.
It's an anomaly.
It's the queen bee.
What, Tori?
It's the queen. It's when the queen bee goes somewhere, that's where the swarm will go. So the queen chose that car. Maybe
Why is it so dark in your house?
Closet?
Why did it? What's going on? Did your power?
Yeah.
Power
Wait,
outage?
I'm going to tell you.
Is that better?
Listen, I'm going to tell you what Tori does. When you do the show from home, you could adjust like the brightness on your screen. But if you put it dark, you look a little tanner.
Oh, she wanted a
I think
tan.
Tanny was looking a little summer kissed. Am I lying, Tori? Am I lying?
You wanted some sun kiss?
No, the sun just moved. The sun moved and it made it darker.
No.
It's the sun.
I don't know if I buy it.
She was hoping to look sun-kissed.
I think you were.
You know what I would do with that car? I'd somehow get it to work and be like, Tori, I forgot my phone in the car. Could you go get it?
Wow. Wow. Coming up on DBL, we are talking to Oscar-winning actress Mira Sorvino from 90s nostalgia. From Romy and Michelle's high school reunion to her latest projects, we're going to talk all about it. Plus, a new twist in the satanic saga of Lil Nas X will tell you why Nike is suing over his devilish sneakers. And a stunning new report in the middle of Holy Week. Are fewer Americans really going to church? The possible reasons why or why not, coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
We want to take you on an inside look at the courtroom where the trial will take place. Because of COVID concerns, there are limits to many things you would normally see. Starting off, everyone will be required to wear a mask. Only one print reporter and one TV reporter are allowed in each day, so all media will share a stream of 3 cameras set up in the courtroom. One will show the podium where both the prosecution and defense attorneys will argue their sides. The next will show the tables where Derek Chauvin will be sitting with his team, the others 4 state attorneys. The third camera will show the judge and any witnesses being examined. Here's something that has not changed. No one from the jury can be shown at any point, but they will be present in socially distanced seats. Others in the courtroom will be a judge's clerk and a court reporter who will transcribe the proceedings. Also new during this trial, no family members can be shown in the gallery. That's the area that is normally full of spectators. Only one member of the Chauvin family is allowed each day, as well as only one member from George Floyd's family. So you won't see a normally packed courtroom for a high-profile trial, just a few key people.
Welcome back to DBL, everyone. Check out all our coworkers at home during the pandemic. Keep up the great work, everyone. So for the first time ever, a majority of Americans say they do not belong to any sort of organized religion. As long as Gallup has been polling Americans, a majority of respondents say they're members at house of worships, including churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples. That is until this past year. In 2020, only 47% of Americans said they belong to a house of worship. That's down from 50% in 2018. And as recently as 1999, 70% of Americans said they belong to some sort of church. Gallup said the fall in membership was due to an increasing number of Americans who say they have no religious preference. But DBL Nation, you know we always want to hear from you. What do you think? Are you a member of a church, synagogue, mosque? We're going to look at our tag board right there. Go to dblvote.com to let us know. What do you make of this?
Gallup didn't factor in COVID. You can't go to church during COVID this past year, so of course numbers are down. I hate surveys that skew things. It's not that I'm upset about what they did the poll about, but it's just skewing things to make people like religion's bad. You shouldn't believe in this. Listen, I don't go to church every day, but it's good to believe in something. It's good to have religion. It's good to teach your kids something. It's good to go somewhere on Sunday morning instead of being hungover. There's a lot of positives to the church, and I understand all the bad that goes with it. I get that. I'm not part of that. I don't do that. I go there on Christmas and Easter, and I believe, and I want my kids to believe in something higher than me, than what humans are. To this rhetoric that we're putting out now that church is terrible and it's not good for you and I don't want to do this anymore, I don't like it. It's just me personally. I don't like it.
I think what you're referring to is the dogmatism. Go ahead, Tori. I just want to really quickly clarify for our viewers what Jeff's referring to is the dogmatism attached to religion, right? Like the judgment. You are very spiritual and you see the benefit. In fact, I have really adopted the power of prayer ever since, you know, Eric has been in the hospital. So I am right there with you. I am so grateful for God and the power of prayer. So amen to that. But Tori, what were you going to say?
First of all, I love that you guys said that. I'm strongly observant in terms of Judaism and traditions, but I think organized religion has done a lot of harm to this generation, meaning they were told that if they're gay or trans for a long time, they were going to go to hell. They were said that they couldn't get married. They were said that they were sometimes molested by people that they trusted in authority. So I believe in believing in something, but I have a real issue with organized religion and why it's going down makes perfect sense to me, because I think people are trusting to pray outside of that organized religion because there's a lot of flaws that we have seen uncovered.
Well,
so I think that's important to put out there.
Well, Tori, I think we're agreeing, but on the fact that believing in something is a good thing. And Jeff, I am on board with that. The only thing I'm going to push back on with you and Tori is I feel like we're missing the field. You know how like you can decide whether Tiger Woods will win the Masters or the rest of the golfers? We're not factoring in there's other stuff out there. You can, on Sundays, be part of a brunch group. You and Chris go out and play golf on Sundays. That can be your religion. You guys get together. You talk about your family. You talk about what you want to do this week. And that can become a religion for you.
Yes.
So a lot of people are faithful to something. They get up and go to their yoga thing outside and watch the sunrise. Whatever it is, that can be your religion. That can be how you start yourself for the week. So I don't think it's necessarily a knock against religion. I just think just like every time we have a story about the Grammys and we're like the ratings were down, it's because there's more stuff to watch. There's more things than there was in 1980. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing. I think it's going to go down, but for everything.
Yeah.
All the time.
I know. It's a controversial
But I get what you're saying.
Point that a lot of people, you know, this book was written 2,000 years ago. I don't necessarily believe everything written there, because if you translate it through 100 languages, it's tough to dissect anyway, right? And so things in there were bad. I get that. But it's like nowadays it's crazy. You say like, I'm Catholic. I was in just this stigma that's attached to being Catholic right now, and the way people look and talk, and it's, I don't know. I mean, we're all about unity right now. I don't feel it when I talk about religion. And I don't go there. I've made my confirmation in my communion. I've never been molested by a priest. I know that's what is in the back of everyone's mind right now. But it's like we have to have these conversations instead of just judging everybody all the time about everything and putting labels on people.
Well said.
I put a label on myself. I'm great.
Good icebreaker. 55%.
I love you, buddy.
Yes, they are a member of a church or synagogue or mosque. All right, we'll be right back.
Are you?
DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
Well, I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now. Welcome back to DBL. With millions around the world receiving their vaccines and with spring right around the corner, a lot of us are ready to put the pandemic behind us and get back to normal life. But even though we may be ready, the virus simply isn't yet. Take a look at what CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky said just yesterday as she appeared to choke back tears.
I'm going to lose the script and I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom. We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
Oh, wow. Dr. Payal Kohli joins us live. So, Dr. Kohli, Dr. Walensky's emotional plea, it hits hard and it's relatable. What do you make of her comment about impending doom? And should we be bracing for yet another surge?
Sam, it hit me pretty hard too, and I really have to say we've ridden the waves up and down, you know, the surges up and down. We've all sort of become a little bit numb to it, but this particular one has me worried too for two reasons. The first is these new variants. The B117 variant, which originates from the UK, is quickly becoming dominant. We know it's more contagious, we know that it's more deadly, and that's part of what's involved in this rise in cases. The second piece of this is that the cases had plateaued and now they're going up, despite the fact that a lot of people are getting vaccinated. So nationally, 29% of Americans have received at least one dose, and 16% have received both doses. So the fact that so many people have already gotten vaccinated and the cases are going up instead of going down has me particularly concerned.
Yeah, so the doctor's fear was COVID-19 cases are on the rise all over the country. But what about states that opened first, like Mississippi? And I'm going to throw Florida in there, too. Are they also on the rise?
This is a really interesting question because not every state that's opening up is seeing an increase in cases. So people are confused as to why this is happening. So you have to keep in mind that opening up is just one piece of how much the cases are going to increase. The biggest piece, I think, is the density of the variants. How much of that new variant do you have? And the other big piece is how many people have immunity, whether it's through vaccination or natural infection. So some of the states that are not seeing a big rise in cases, you guys, are the ones that had a lot of people get sick, recover, and have immunity, and that's part of the reason they're not seeing those big rises.
All right, Doc, I'm going to ask this question, but I can't believe I'm asking it. They're saying that a lot of people are opting to not get their second shot, even though they were vaccinated with their first shot, because they think that was enough. Is this true, and do you think this is a good idea?
This is absolutely true, Al, and it is a terrible idea. And unfortunately, a study came out just yesterday that said after the first shot, you're 80% protected. After the second, you go up to 90%. And a lot of people are taking that 80% as a sign that good enough, I don't need a second shot. But I really want to caution people against this because of the depth and the duration of the protection. So we know that if you get that second shot, you get about 10-fold higher neutralizing antibodies as compared to just the first shot. We also know that the duration or how long those antibodies last is likely to be longer with that second shot. So it really does help solidify that immune response that you get from the vaccine.
You heard the doctor, everybody. Make sure you get both shots. Okay, before we let you go, though, Dr. Kohli, don't think we forgot. It was National Doctors Day.
Yes.
So from all of us here at DBL, we can't thank you enough for being our anchor throughout this pandemic. We appreciate you more than we can say. We love you, Dr.
And where's
Kohli.
my graphic?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't want to go after our production team, but my name should have been on there.
Okay.
It's a little, you know, be professional, guys.
Thunder.
We love you, Dr. Kohli, honestly, from day one.
I love you guys.
We have pictures of you from day one telling us about this, and we really love you and appreciate you.
And now
Thank
she's
you so
in our
much.
group text.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. She's a lifeline, a lifesaver.
That's right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say some of those pictures with really bad hair days, right?
Yeah, we love you. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Today we're talking about Ever Given, a 1,300 12-foot-long container ship that's nearly as long as the Empire State Building is tall. The 220-ton ship was grounded at the Suez Canal for 6 days.
So why are we talking about this? Well, there are claims that indicate the blockage caused the global economy to lose $400 million an hour. Yeah, so let's verify. Could the grounding of Ever Given have caused the economy to lose $400 million an hour? Our sources: Paul Hong, Distinguished University Professor of Global Supply Chain Management and Asian Studies at the University of Toledo, and Lisa Anderson, founder and president of LMA Consulting Group, a supply chain consulting company.
The supply chain was already out of alignment. So now that we have the Suez Canal, it pretty much means that it's gotten even more out of alignment.
First, let's talk about how much trade goes through the Suez Canal daily.
There's about $10 billion worth of trade that actually flow through daily.
And Anderson agrees. A little quick math actually gets us to $416 million an hour of total global trade halted during the grounding of Ever Given. So we can verify that this claim is true, but actually underestimates the amount of total global trade lost per hour. So what about these claims that toilet paper and coffee will be in short supply because of Ever Given? Well, according to both Anderson and Hong, that's false.
People think that toilet papers are coming from China mainly, but I think toilet paper is primarily from Canada and Mexico, so toilet paper would not be that affected.
Anderson agrees that toilet paper won't be impacted like it was during the beginning of the pandemic.
Toilet paper was more of a panic buy, so people aren't going to necessarily do a panic buy over the missing materials.
According to Hong, 10% of the total coffee trade comes through the Suez Canal, so he says that industry could be slightly impacted.
The impact of a coffee is really there, but it may not be huge.
Over the last few months, Anderson says manufacturing and shipping costs have increased across multiple industries, so any increase in coffee price will likely have more to do with those than the grounding of Ever Given at the Suez Canal.
They've been absorbing some of it, but they're also starting to pass them on to consumers. And I think that for sure it is likely to lead to some inflation over time for sure.
So we can verify, yes, the claim about the grounding of Ever Given costing the global economy approximately $400 million an hour is true. But there's no need to worry that toilet paper will be out of stock, and unless your favorite coffee comes from Vietnam or Indonesia, you're in the clear as well. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Daytil.
You can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you're sticking around, here is what's coming up. Just in time for Easter, we are chatting with Oscar winner Mira Sorvino to get the scoop on her latest movie, All About Faith. Plus, Lil Nas X and his devil drama, why Nike is suing over those controversial Satan shoes made with human blood. And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
Well, I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
Yeah. You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach. And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now.
You're talking about real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I am Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. Tori's really upset about the group text between Dr. Coley, Al, and Jeff and I. She already started the group text again, inserting herself into the conversation. You look really tan again. Did you mess with the lighting?
You did mess with the lighting, Tori.
No.
Yes, you did.
There's something called the sun. No, I didn't. There's something called the sun, and it alters the exposure. I'm so upset with all of you. Can we move on?
So upset you had to turn the lights down?
You need it a little quiet in the dark.
All right, we're going to get started, Tori. So CBS is shutting down rumors that Sharon Osbourne received a payout of up to $10 million for leaving the talk. Last week, the network said Sharon had decided to leave the show. This comes after she defended her friend Piers Morgan over comments he made about Meghan Markle. Well, that led to a heated exchange with her co-host Cheryl Underwood about race. Sharon later told Entertainment Tonight that she was set up by CBS executives and was blindsided on air when she saw that all the other co-hosts had been giving questions directed at her. Okay.
I'm going to kick it off. One,
Please.
It's pretty crazy that Entertainment Tonight is CBS and she's bashing CBS on their network. Little ironic to me. Two, if I did something crazy over the weekend, just say over the weekend, and it went national and every media outlet picked it up, would you guys have some questions for me when we sat down at this table on Monday?
Wouldn't you hope that we did?
Yes.
So you could further explain yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on a show called The Talk, which I thought was, that was kind of the point. And it's weird, we always talk about, how did you feel? Do you feel she's being canceled? Is she being treated unfairly? We're talking about emotions. And once again, the world is about lawyers and contracts. We saw this with Megyn Kelly. When the blackface stuff came up, she got her big $69 million payout. Jeff, in basketball, we saw this with Donald Sterling and his girlfriend, V. Steviano, that recorded him saying something racist at his house. He had to sell his team, but he sold him $4 billion. So is that being canceled? I don't know, but does it matter? Check cleared.
And I think, too, Tori, what's interesting is the lack of trust there. I know if something happened over the weekend, to Jeff's point, where my co-host would want to address it on the show, I would have blind trust with you. Even if the producers said, we need to bring up this topic with Sam, I would know that it would get uncomfortable, like it sometimes does on this show, but I would know at the end of the day that you guys are going to be there for me. Even if I did something egregious, you would help me understand why I did something egregious. And I think that's the difference between our show and other talk shows, Tori.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Do you want to see a bunch of people who actually don't really know each other talking about nuanced and complicated things? Or do you want a bunch of friends that can actually have each other's back? Go there, because the trust there is the difference. And that's what makes DBL DBL. Everyone says it's the chemistry. What really, you just said it. It's the trust that I can go there with you and you have my back in the end. That's way more enjoyable to watch than the fake stuff.
And calling people out. We call each other out all the time. That's
but wouldn't you want that? If I said something crazy, I would want you guys to tell me so I could, one, learn from it, and two, kind of explain my side of the story, because there's always two sides to the story.
Yeah.
So you guys are all right.
Jeff, I'll tell you something that I learned from, and I know we have to move on, but this is an important topic. I remember sitting on the panel, you and I, when it used to be 4 people on the panel, and the Erin Andrews story came up about her being filmed in her hotel room against her will, obviously, and she sued for $100 million, and you, and I believe it was Tori or Erica, were outraged, as you should have been, and me and Jeff, we both were like, that's a lot of money. And the reaction that, I can't speak for you, Jeff, but the reaction that I got from you guys changed forever how I perceive monetary value when it comes to somebody's dignity, and understanding that that's a woman's body and feeling like it's violated over and over again. Whereas men, we're just like, dude, take the money, and it's just like, you can learn. Me and Jeff don't hate women. We just didn't know we're dudes. And so you can learn and move on rather than just being like, the Erica set me up. Like, what?
Right.
So sorry.
I could give you 100 examples.
Yes.
We don't have time.
I could give you a bunch, too. I've learned a lot.
Don't be trying to copy off Jeff.
No, I'm just saying I've learned a lot
Why do
from
you have
my
to one up?
co-hosts.
He said 100 and you said a bunch like you have more examples than him.
I just want to let you know that I've learned a lot from you guys. That's all. Okay, so Nike is suing over those Lil Nas X Satan shoes. As we showed you, the rapper teamed up with a streetwear company to release the shoes, which sold out in under a minute yesterday. They are customized Nike Air Max 97s that feature a pentagram and contain real human blood inside the soles. Nike is suing the company for trademark infringement, saying it has the right to control what products bear the distinctive swoosh logo. Lil Nas X was not named in the lawsuit.
What are you laughing at?
I didn't even know that this memory was going to come to the forefront of my mind, but my sister had a little dog a long time ago named Bella that had a natural Nike swoosh marking on its tail. Like all-white dog, black
Really?
Nike swoosh, and my sister and I took a picture. We wrote a letter to Nike trying to get the dog to be the spokesperson. Anyways, it never came to fruition, but that memory came to the forefront. Sorry. Go ahead, Al.
No, I mean, where do you go after that, Sam? I think we should just go to break and then never come back. No, honestly, I looked at this, and again, I'm going to stay on my same track. Contracts. I get it. No matter how you feel about Lil Nas X, he's the best. He's the worst. Nike has a right to be like, hey, we have spent 50, 60 years getting that brand and that logo to where it is. You putting a pentagram next to it is not really
Where's
what
the
we're
blood
feeling.
coming from?
Like,
Whose blood
you
is
can't
that,
use
Jeff?
a Nike swoosh on anything. You can't just sew that on your jacket and be like, yeah, this is Nike's. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, there is a lot of backlash.
It was a really dumb idea to do it that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of backlash from this. Me and my wife were talking about this story yesterday, and she's like, well, what happened with it? I'm like, maybe just flip on the show once in a while, and you can find out what happened. But, so we were talking about it, and she's like, why is Nike being canceled? Not all over, like the hashtag was cancel Nike.
That's
and
not
I'm like,
fair.
Nike has nothing to do with this. They sold these shoes in 1997,
Right.
and now this other company, so of course
Yeah.
Nike has to sue them and stick up for themselves.
Right, Tori, that's their propriety.
Yeah,
Propriety? Propriety?
Propriety?
No,
You said
propriety. Propriety. No, propriety.
No, just saying it over and over again doesn't make it.
Leave me
work.
alone. Go ahead, Tori.
I just think Lil Nas X, first of all, that was adorable. Lil Nas X has been so smart, I think, about the way he's handled this, including this tweet I wanted to read you. Someone wrote about his shoes, "It's sick and depraved and an attempt to destroy our society." And he wrote back, "There's a mass shooting every week that our government does nothing to stop. Me sliding down a CGI pole isn't what's destroying society." And I liked what he had to say, and he was provoking people into, that's what good artists do. However, to take a Nike and stick a pentagram on it with some blood is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Of course you're gonna sue. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
And Tori, I don't think that Nike swoosh is what people bought it for. It just seemed like the shoe, you could even copy the shoe in a bootleg way.
He didn't have to put it on.
Why did you
Yeah.
put the most distinctive logo on the planet?
True.
Like, I didn't get that.
I know.
All right, so we're going to move on to Katie Couric. She skipped the makeup chair for her recent People magazine photo shoot. The veteran journalist appears in the annual Beautiful issue Makeup Free. Katie, who is 64, said the experience made her feel, quote, liberated and vulnerable. She told the magazine she hopes shoots like this expand the idea of what and who is considered beautiful. Watch.
We've been so conditioned to see young faces that when you see someone who's older, it's almost like, and we need to stop that. We need to start celebrating and appreciating women at every age.
This makes me so happy. In fact, I'm going to put pressure on our producers over there, both of them executive producers. One day soon, here comes Rob, the cameraman. I'm going to put this on camera. Can we do a makeup-free episode?
I thought of that.
Yes.
To say it.
Can we?
Yes.
Yes, so we are going to do, okay, so we just decided right here, right now, we are going to do a makeup-free episode soon. And I'm really happy about this.
My forehead is shiny now.
What?
I don't know if can we do some prep for that?
What do you mean?
I don't know how it looks.
You're the one that has eyebrows. I have no eyebrows. I'm going to do a makeup-free episode with no eyebrows.
We better wait for a day where Tori's off. I'm kidding, Tori. I'm totally kidding.
I know. Wait, that was really funny. Let me just say something about Katie Couric really quick. When her husband died of colon cancer, she went on air, unheard of at the time in the 90s, and did a colonoscopy on air. So I'm very proud of Katie Couric. Let's not forget, she's a pioneer in sort of saying, like, you want to take a look at this? Take a look at this. So good on her.
But is this, if we did do that show, which it appears like we are, like realistically, like real talk here, Katie Couric's 64, Sam, you're 40, Tori's under 40. Is that kind of mocking what they're doing in some sort of way? Like, would we get any pushback from that? I'm just asking like an honest question.
I hope not, because there is a difference between being 40 and being 64. So I'm with you 100%. But I will say, when I have no makeup on, even though I personally might be okay with it, broadcast on camera, I am going to feel insecure with sparse or sparse eyebrows and no pinch in my cheek, so to speak. Blush. I can't talk when you two are looking at me. I can't. I'm done.
Well, that's going to not bode well for the rest of the show.
Sam, you are adorable. I think it's a great idea, and I love what she's doing. And don't forget that Katie Couric is bringing up something. There's a reason that there's only young people that you see on TV. That means that there's a lane for older people on TV.
Well said, Al.
She looks like a lot of Americans. Honestly, she looks like a lot of Americans, and I think that there's a lane for that.
There is a lane for that.
So somebody do it.
We are going to do it.
Not us. I'm saying for older Americans on television.
She did. She just did.
Just her,
She just did.
I'm sure. Okay. Coming up on DBL, we're catching up with actress Mira Sorvino from reliving her Romy and Michelle days to what she's been up to now. Do not miss it. And our DBL staff is working hard at home during the pandemic. We miss you guys. When COVID is behind us, we'll hopefully be reunited in the studio. We'll be right back.
My new team.
Closed captioning provided by
We want to take you on an inside look at the courtroom where the trial will take place. Because of COVID concerns, there are limits to many things you would normally see. Starting off, everyone will be required to wear a mask. Only one print reporter and one TV reporter are allowed in each day. So all media will share a stream of 3 cameras set up in the courtroom. One will show the podium where both the prosecution and defense attorneys will argue their sides. The next will show the tables where Derek Chauvin will be sitting with his team, the others 4 state attorneys. The third camera will show the judge and any witnesses being examined. Here's something that has not changed. No one from the jury can be shown at any point, but they will be present in socially distanced seats. Others in the courtroom will be a judge's clerk and a court reporter who will transcribe the proceedings. Also new during this trial, no family members can be shown in the gallery. That's the area that is normally full of spectators. Only one member of the Chauvin family is allowed each day, as well as only one member from George Floyd's family. So you won't see a normally packed courtroom for a high-profile trial, just a few key people.
Welcome back to DBL. Today, we are talking to an Oscar-winning actress, activist, and mother of 4. Her newest role in the faith-based film called The Girl Who Believes in Miracles is coming to theaters this Easter. We can't wait. Please welcome Mira Sorvino. There she is.
Yes.
Hi. Hi. Hi, Mira. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to talk to you about your new movie. But first, I'm already receiving comments from our viewers saying that their all-time favorite film is Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. So 2 decades later, this movie is still referenced. Kourtney Kardashian paid homage to your character just last Christmas. Mira, what do you make of the increase in nostalgia for this particular movie of yours?
I don't know. I think the movie stands the test of time because people always relate to being a geek in high school, and they always relate to loving their best friend and being true to yourself, which is really the ultimate motto of the movie, being true to yourself and having fun, you know, in your own zany way. And I think that individuality and love message is sort of resounding and timeless.
Mira, very quickly, first of all, thank you for being here. We need to get serious. Yesterday, we talked about Woody Allen's recent interview on our show. You worked with him in 1995, but have since separated yourself from the filmmaker. Did you catch the part where he said actors who did this to him are only persecuting an innocent man, and how did you take that?
I have no comment on that, but I think that Dylan Farrow and Mia Farrow were incredibly brave. I saw the whole documentary, and I think that speaks for itself. He's a guilty man, and he abused his daughter, and I had no further comment on that.
Thank you, Mira. And we're going to switch gears back to your movie. It's a faith-based film. What made you want to do another faith-based film?
Well, I'm a Christian, and I believe in God and Jesus, and this is a very sweet, lovely movie. And, you know, faith-based movies are their own genre. They're not as artsy, they're not full of violence, they're not full of thrills, but there is a big audience for them. And I think that this particular film, The Girl Who Believes in Miracles, really hits the sweet spot in what people want out of a beautiful Easter movie. It's really about the risen Christ and what is possible if you truly believe in God. And it's, you know, characterized, embodied by this little girl who is, her faith is just so pure and open and simple that she believes there's no limits to what God will be able to do, and he does it through her for a time. And, you know, it's just a very positive message, even though it is a faith-based movie, and it starts with the sermon, as a lot of them do. The story is not preachy, it's just loving and beautiful and very heart-wrenching, actually, but with a feel-good ending. So I do encourage families who like faith-based movies to go see this. And Austin Johnson, who plays the little girl who becomes sort of a faith healer in the story, is incredible. And I love Peter Coyote in it. He's wonderful as my dad. My part is very emotionally harrowing, but it's really about a mother's love for her daughter, for me.
Mira, I got a funny story because I did a faith-based film last year during COVID, and it's coming out next year. I'm not comparing myself to an Academy Award-winning actress or anything. But I did it with Mira Sorvino is going to be in the movie that I'm in. And I told my mom I'm doing a movie with Mira Sorvino. And she's like, I love Mira Sorvino. She won an Oscar. And I was like, no. I think it's Mira Sorvino. I think
Jeff,
Mira
you
was
also
great.
told your co-host that, too.
Yes, and when I got to set, I was like, do not say Mira. Do not say Mira.
Yeah.
Mina.
In fact, Mira, I went home and I was like, oh my gosh, and Mira Sorvino is fantastic. But
yes.
you know, we all love Mira Sorvino as well at my household, and we were all so excited for you, Jeff.
Yeah, so at least we're in the same genre. We're in the same genre, so it might not be my last mistake.
Well, say hi to your mother for me.
Hey,
you already did. That's
Mira,
amazing.
what are you doing? Anything traditional on Easter Sunday? What do you guys do in your household with 4 kids?
I'm not really sure what that looks like this year still. Maybe we'll find like an outdoor service somewhere. The kids come downstairs and find the Easter baskets, and they get all excited, and the baskets are larger and larger each year. The bunny is very generous. We've started doing this one golden egg as like the main prize, you know, which has some toy in it. But, you know, it's also the sort of egg count, who gets the most.
Exactly.
Oh, good pun.
Good exactly. Okay. Mira's like,
We're pretty normal. We're pretty normal people.
Well, we appreciate you, Mira. We really do. We cannot wait to see your film. We strongly encourage all of our viewers to make sure that they watch it. So another reminder, The Girl Who Believes in Miracles is out this Friday. We'll be right back. Thank you, Mira. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We all know that
DBL.
I'll just
be really 100, we always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now. Welcome back to DBL. It's finally spring. You wouldn't know it here in Denver because it's snowing. And it's time to think about your home. Did you know a well-maintained yard actually helps protect against common homeowners insurance claims? We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck presented by the Hartford. First, clean out your gutters. That prevents blockage that could send water into your home. Second, regularly mow your lawn. It can lower wildfire risk, especially if you live in a dry climate. And finally, plants within 5 feet of your home should be fleshy and moist. When it comes to quality and affordable home insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more.
Now,
Are you guys really good at maintaining your yards?
I was about to ask Jeff, because I think you have a nice sized yard. Do you have like a lawnmower or like a riding mower? I always wanted a riding mower because my dad had one.
I got to show you a picture of my lawnmower. It's the most embarrassing thing. I bought it for $80 and it plugs in, and I'm not even joking. It looks like Lawson's toy. It's this big because I'm so cheap and I was buying everything else. I'm like, a lawnmower too? Now I mow my lawn with this little Lawson lawn. I got to send you a picture. It's super embarrassing.
We got to pull
and I
up
won't
money.
get a new one.
You know what we do?
What?
We call the boy next door. He comes over, $10, mows the lawn.
What
there was
year
some,
is this?
There was some.
What?
I could go down a weird story.
You used to mow
You were reading the
lawns?
script and it got a little weird. Now you
mow
said the
lawns?
neighbor's coming over to do things.
Wow. Wow. We'll be right back.
It got very 80s movie in here.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
We're talking about Ever Given, a 1,300 12-foot-long container ship that's nearly as long as the Empire State Building is tall. The 220-ton ship was grounded at the Suez Canal for 6 days. So why are we talking about this? Well, there are claims that indicate the blockage caused the global economy to lose $400 million an hour. Yeah, so let's verify. Could the grounding of Ever Given have caused the economy to lose $400 million an hour? Our sources: Paul Hong, Distinguished University Professor of Global Supply Chain Management and Asian Studies at the University of Toledo, and Lisa Anderson, founder and president of LMA Consulting Group, a supply chain consulting company.
The supply chain was already out of alignment. So now that we have the Suez Canal, it pretty much means that it's gotten even more out of alignment.
First, let's talk about how much trade goes through the Suez Canal daily.
There's about $10 billion worth of trade that actually flow through daily.
And Anderson agrees. A little quick math actually gets us to $416 million an hour of total global trade halted during the grounding of Ever Given. So we can verify that this claim is true, but actually underestimates the amount of total global trade lost per hour. So what about these claims that toilet paper and coffee will be in short supply because of Ever Given? Well, according to both Anderson and Hong, that's false.
People think that toilet papers are coming from China mainly, but I think toilet paper is primarily from Canada and Mexico, so toilet paper would not be that affected.
Anderson agrees that toilet paper won't be impacted like it was during the beginning of the pandemic.
Toilet paper was more of a panic buy, so people aren't going to necessarily do a panic buy over the missing materials.
According to Hong, 10% of the total coffee trade comes through the Suez Canal, so he says that industry could be slightly impacted.
The impact of a coffee is really there, but it may not be huge.
Over the last few months, Anderson says manufacturing and shipping costs have increased across multiple industries, so any increase in coffee price will likely have more to do with those than the grounding of Ever Given at the Suez Canal.
They've been absorbing some of it, but they're also starting to pass them on to consumers. And I think that for sure it is likely to lead to some inflation over time for sure.
So we can verify, yes, the claim about the grounding of Ever Given costing the global economy approximately $400 million an hour is true.
But there's no need to worry that toilet paper will be out of stock, and unless your favorite coffee comes from Vietnam or Indonesia, you're in the clear as well. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Community's mind after a fire chief's wife dies in a horrific inferno.
Dad called and said, Kim, Nanette's dead. And I just, what? And just immediately started screaming, they killed her.
Was it an accident or cold-blooded murder? That's in True Crime Chronicles. And we're catching up with entrepreneur and former reality TV star Bill Rancic, from helping Juliana beat cancer to winning The Apprentice almost 20 years ago. He's telling us what he's learned along the way. That's tomorrow, right here on DBL.
You do not want to miss it. Welcome back to DBL. I have a fun moment to show you guys. So last night, little Miles, just roll the tape.
Go Miles! Go Miles!
Yeah.
You got it!
Yeah. Come here.
His first steps, you guys.
Those are his first steps?
Those are his first. We could tell that he was about to make his first steps because he would stand and just kind of like stand there all awkward for like 3 seconds. I was like, quick, Mark, get your phone out. Get your phone out. He's going to do it. And sure enough, he did it.
Wow. That's a memory for life.
We saw Leighton's first steps.
I know.
Remember?
I know. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's something that's tattooed. Like, you'll never forget that.
I know, and Sophie was so proud of him, Al.
Yeah. There's a lot of good in this world. I know it's a tough time, but just videos like that, I can get through Tuesday.
It's like Tori showing up to work in the morning.
Yeah. Call that happy hour Tori.
DBL is new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now.
On Daily Blast Live.
It's day 2 of the Derek Chauvin trial as the first witnesses come forward, including an MMA fighter who said he watched George Floyd die.
He was lifeless. He didn't move. He didn't speak.
An Asian woman brutally beaten as people appear to just look on. Why didn't they do anything? Sharon Osbourne exits the talk. Will she get a massive $10 million payout? And does she deserve it? And Mira Sorvino live on DBL today. Don't miss our interview with the Oscar-winning actress.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, March 30th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. Let's get right to it because we are continuing to follow the murder trial for Derek Chauvin. One of the witnesses testifying today is the young girl who filmed the video of George Floyd's arrest. She was 17 years old at the time, so they are not showing video of her. But here is some of her testimony from earlier this morning.
So was there any point in your video, whether it's 9 or 10 minutes, that Mr. Chauvin ever let up or got up off of the neck of Mr. Floyd that you saw?
No, if anything, he actually was kneeling harder. It looked like he was shoving his knee in his neck, like he was feeding off of our energy.
Another witness is this mixed martial arts fighter who testified that Chauvin was using a technique designed to cut off air circulation. Here is some of what he said yesterday.
The officer on top was shimmying to actually get the final choke in while he was on top to get the kill choke. He looked at me right here. It's the only time he looked at me. When I said it was a blood choke, it's the only time he looked up. We looked each other dead in our eyes. Yeah, and when I said it, he acknowledged it.
We also heard testimony from a 911 dispatcher who watched the live video from the scene and called the officer's supervisor because she felt, quote, something wasn't right. Wow. Al, what did you think of the witness testimony? First of all, we were all, to some degree, witnesses since we had all seen that video. But what did you think of their testimony?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, and I'm going to relate this to the Tiger King, but I'm not going to, make light of this. I think the Tiger King gained so much traction because there was this weird time in the world where everybody in the world was at home. And so this random documentary about tigers became a national phenomenon. And this was the same thing with this trial. We all watched. But this is the first time we've been able to hear from the witnesses, the people that had boots on the ground. They seemed credible. They seemed lucid. And Jeff, I thought about the young lady that filmed it because not only did she film a man's death, but she was then re-traumatized because a lot of people with so much anger then went after her for saying, why didn't you help? She then had to seek mental help. And now she has to, before her 18th birthday, go back on the stand and talk about this again. And I worry about that young woman.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what we think. I think our minds are made up, right? And by us, I mean just the community around us.
The people,
And when the prosecution talks, they're going to say C. When the defense talks, they're going to say C. And they're going to want their theory proven right. It doesn't matter about us. It matters about the jury right now and what's going to happen. It's down to 12 people now what happens with the rest of this case. And hopefully we'll find out in 4 weeks.
Tori, what do you make of it?
I think Jeff's right, it really doesn't matter what we think, but certain details that I heard will influence the juror, and one of them was that the 911 operator allegedly thought the tape had stopped because it was so much pressure for so long that she thought there was a malfunction in the video camera. Those types of details give you chills, but they also convince jurors of intent, of negligence, these things that they need to prove in order to get it across. I think also, it's strange that at the end, we all saw a murder, and when he called for his mama, I don't think anyone can forget hearing that. And it's someone held a sign that said, he summoned all mamas when he said mama.
Well said, Tori. Heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And he screamed out, I can't breathe 29 times. All right, so there is some shocking new video of an attack on an Asian woman in New York City. So a warning to our viewers. What we're about to show you is a graphic, and it definitely is going to be disturbing to some viewers. So I want you to take a moment if you want to turn or pause the channel, leave the room. So here we go. Security camera footage shows a woman walking past a building in Midtown Manhattan when she is randomly attacked. Wow. A man kicks her to the ground. He then stomps on her head, kicks her in the face repeatedly before leaving the scene. If you also notice, there's 2 security officers who witnessed the attack. They stood by and were not seen offering any help. Police are still looking for the suspect who you see here. Look at that image. Do you recognize this person? And this is also from a shot from a security camera in the area. Now, the woman was stable when she was taken to the hospital, but she reportedly suffered a fractured pelvis. Meantime, those 2 security guards seen in the video have been suspended by the management company pending an investigation. So the question is, what would you do if you saw this happening? And should there be any consequences, Al, for doing nothing, especially if you're a security guard?
I mean, I hope I can speak for most of our audience when I say, what would I do? And the answer is not nothing. Not nothing.
Right.
I mean, it looked like, Jeff, that he got up to close the door. And I've lived in New York for 5 years, and you know, you see a lot of crazy things. You tune things out that are happening a foot from you on the subway. I get that. But when you see a human being that I feel like could have been killed. I mean, one more kick to the head, that could have been it right there. The fact that they didn't do anything, there have to be consequences. I think losing their job is the least of them.
Yeah, I think we're asking the wrong question. There should definitely be consequences for security guards. How about this sick man who did this? He's gigantic. The security guards, I don't even want to talk about security guards. They should be fired and dealt with in their own time. How about we talk about finding this man?
Yes.
How about that? What would you do if you're a security guard? I don't care what I would do. I wasn't there. This man kicked an innocent woman's face in multiple times and broke her pelvis. How about we focus our attention on what's going on right here and get this person off the street, because it's disgusting.
Well said. Let's put up that picture real quick. Everybody, if you know who this person is, please contact New York Police Department. Please, let's find this person. We're going to switch gears here. Here's some video you don't see every day. People playing volleyball in front of an active volcano. Wow, this video was taken in Iceland, where a lot of people have been going to see the molten lava flowing from the mountain. Tori, would you be running? Would you think this is cool? What would you do, Tori?
I've actually, ever since Joe versus the volcano, always wanted to get a little close to one. But again, it's not too hot. Like in Hawaii, you can get pretty close while the lava's oozing. You just have to be pretty careful. Great movie, by the way.
Joe versus the volcano with Tom Hanks,
Yes,
right?
We're referencing movies that are 33 years old.
And Meg Ryan.
And Meg Ryan.
Do you ever read Jack Handy?
Yeah.
When he's got one that says, if you ever drop your keys in lava, forget about it, man, because they're gone.
I love it. Okay, so talk about having a bad day. A man was shocked to discover his car had been taken over by a swarm of more than 15,000 bees, all while he was shopping inside a store. The bees had invaded his back seat, according to police. An off-duty firefighter, who happened to also be a beekeeper, came and safely relocated all of the bees. It took about 2 hours. Only one person suffered a bee sting, a security officer at the supermarket. Al, what would you do if you returned your car and found it was covered in bees?
Go to the dealership and get a new car?
It's not the dealership's fault.
I'm not ever getting that car again. Something about it is attracting 15,000 bees. Like, let's call that a wash.
You would immediately dismiss that car.
I can't get back in it. What, am I going to park it again and let it happen again? I can't. Or what if it's when I'm driving? I can't. I'm
Albert,
done.
It's an anomaly.
It's the queen bee.
What, Tori?
It's the queen. It's when the queen bee goes somewhere, that's where the swarm will go. So the queen chose that car. Maybe
Why is it so dark in your house?
Closet?
Why did it? What's going on? Did your power?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm going to tell you.
Is that better?
Listen, I'm going to tell you what Tori does. When you do the show from home, you could adjust like the brightness on your screen. But if you put it dark, you look a little tanner.
Oh, she wanted to look
I think
tan.
Tanny was looking a little summer kissed. Am I lying, Tori? Am I lying?
You wanted some sun kissed?
No, the sun just moved. The sun moved and it made it darker.
No.
It's the sun.
I don't know if I buy it.
She was hoping to look sun kissed.
I think you were.
You know what I would do with that car? I'd somehow get it to work and be like, Tori, I forgot my phone in the car. Could you go get it?
Wow. Wow. Coming up on DBL, we are are talking to Oscar-winning actress Mira Sorvino from 90s nostalgia, from Romy and Michelle's high school reunion to her latest projects. We're going to talk all about it. Plus, a new twist in the satanic saga of Lil Nas X. We'll tell you why Nike is suing over his devilish sneakers. And a stunning new report in the middle of Holy Week. Are fewer Americans really going to church? The possible reasons why or why not, coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
We want to take you on an inside look at the courtroom where the trial will take place. Because of COVID concerns, there are limits to many things you would normally see. Starting off, everyone will be required to wear a mask. Only one print reporter and one TV reporter are allowed in each day. So all media will share a stream of 3 cameras set up in the courtroom. One will show the podium where both the prosecution and defense attorneys will argue their sides. The next will show the tables where Derek Chauvin will be sitting with his team, the others 4 state attorneys. The third camera will show the judge and any witnesses being examined. Here's something that has not changed. No one from the jury can be shown at any point, but they will be present in socially distanced seats. Others in the courtroom will be a judge's clerk and a court reporter who will transcribe the proceedings. Also new during this trial, no family members can be shown in the gallery. That's the area that is normally full of spectators. Only one member of the Chauvin family is allowed each day, as well as only one member from George Floyd's family. So you won't see a normally packed courtroom for a high-profile trial, just a few key people.
Welcome back to DBL, everyone. Check out all our coworkers at home during the pandemic. Keep up the great work, everyone. So for the first time ever, a majority of Americans say they do not belong to any sort of organized religion. As long as Gallup has been polling Americans, a majority of respondents say they're members at house of worships, including churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples. That is until this past year in 2020, only 47% of Americans said they belong to a house of worship. That's down from 50% in 2018. And as recently as 1999, 70% of Americans said they belong to some sort of church. Gallup said the fall in membership was due to an increasing number of Americans who say they have no religious preference. But DBL Nation, you know we always want to hear from you. What do you think? Are you a member of a church, synagogue, mosque? We're going to look at our tag board right there. Go to dblvote.com to let us know. What do you make of this?
Gallup didn't factor in COVID. You can't go to church during COVID this past year, so of course numbers are down. I hate surveys that skew things. It's not that I'm upset about what they did the poll about, but it's just skewing things to make people like religion's bad. You shouldn't believe in this. Listen, I don't go to church every day, but it's good to believe in something. It's good to have religion. It's good to teach your kids something. It's good to go somewhere on Sunday morning instead of being hungover. There's a lot of positives to the church, and I understand all the bad that goes with it. I get that. I'm not part of that. I don't do that. I go there on Christmas and Easter, and I believe, and I want my kids to believe in something higher than me, than what humans are. To this rhetoric that we're putting out now that church is terrible and it's not good for you and I don't want to do this anymore, I don't like it. It's just me personally. I don't like it.
I think what you're referring to is the dogmatism. Go ahead, Tori. I just want to really quickly clarify for our viewers what Jeff's referring to is the dogmatism attached to religion, right? Like the judgment. You are very spiritual and you see the benefit. In fact, I have really adopted the power of prayer ever since, you know, Eric has been in the hospital. So I am right there with you. I am so grateful for God and the power of prayer. So amen to that. But Tori, what were you going to say?
First of all, I love that you guys said that. I'm strongly observant in terms of Judaism and traditions, but I think organized religion has done a lot of harm to this generation, meaning they were told that if they're gay or trans for a long time, they were going to go to hell. They were said that they couldn't get married. They were said that they were sometimes molested by people that they trusted in authority. So I believe in believing in something, but I have a real issue with organized religion and why it's going down. Makes perfect sense to me because I think people are trusting to pray outside of that organized religion because there's a lot of flaws that we have seen uncovered. Well, so I think that's important to put out there.
Well, Tori, I think we're agreeing, but on the fact that believing in something is a good thing. And Jeff, I am on board with that. The only thing I'm going to push back on with you and Tori is I feel like we're missing the field. You know how like you can decide whether Tiger Woods will win the Masters or the rest of the golfers? We're not factoring in there's other stuff out there. You can, on Sundays, be part of a brunch group. You and Chris go out and play golf on Sundays. That can be your religion. You guys get together. You talk about your family. You talk about what you want to do this week. And that can become a religion for you.
Yes.
So a lot of people are faithful to something. They get up and go to their yoga thing outside and watch the sunrise. Whatever it is, that can be your religion. That can be how you start yourself for the week. So I don't think it's necessarily a knock against religion. I just think just like every time we have a story about the Grammys and we're like the ratings were down, it's because there's more stuff to watch. There's more things than there was in 1980. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing. I think it's going to go down, but for everything.
Yeah.
All the time.
I know. It's a controversial
but I get what you're saying.
Point that a lot of people, you know, this book was written 2,000 years ago. I don't necessarily believe everything written there because if you translate it through 100 languages, it's tough to dissect anyway, right? And so things in there were bad. I get that. But it's like nowadays it's crazy. You say like, I'm Catholic. I was in just this stigma that's attached to being Catholic right now and the way people look and talk. And it's, I don't know. I mean, we're all about unity right now. I don't feel it when I talk about religion. And I don't go there. I've made my confirmation and my communion. I've never been molested by a priest. I know that's what is in the back of everyone's mind right now. But it's like we have to have these conversations instead of just judging everybody all the time about everything and putting labels on people.
Well said.
I put a label on myself. I'm great.
Good icebreaker.
55%.
I love you, buddy.
Yes, they are a member of a church or synagogue or mosque. All right, we'll be right back.
Are you...
DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
Well, I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
Yeah. You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now. Welcome back to DBL. With millions around the world receiving their vaccines and with spring right around the corner, a lot of us are ready to put the pandemic behind us and get back to normal life. But even though we may be ready, the virus simply isn't yet. Take a look at what CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky said just yesterday as she appeared to choke back tears.
I'm going to lose the script, and I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom. We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
Oh, wow. Dr. Payal Kohli joins us live. So, Dr. Kohli, Dr. Walensky's emotional plea, it hits hard and it's relatable. What do you make of her comment about impending doom? And should we be bracing for yet another surge?
Sam, it hit me pretty hard too, and I really have to say we've ridden the waves up and down, you know, the surges up and down. We've all sort of become a little bit numb to it, but this particular one has me worried too for two reasons. The first is these new variants. The B117 variant, which originates from the UK, is quickly becoming dominant. We know it's more contagious, we know that it's more deadly, and that's part of what's involved in this rise in cases. The second piece of this is that the cases had plateaued and now they're going up, despite the fact that a lot of people are getting vaccinated. So nationally, 29% of Americans have received at least one dose, and 16% have received both doses. So the fact that so many people have already gotten vaccinated and the cases are going up instead of going down has me particularly concerned.
Yeah, so the doctor's fear was COVID-19 cases are on the rise all over the country. But what about states that opened first, like Mississippi? And I'm going to throw Florida in there, too. Are they also on the rise?
This is a really interesting question because not every state that's opening up is seeing an increase in cases. So people are confused as to why this is happening. So you have to keep in mind that opening up is just one piece of how much the cases are going to increase. The biggest piece, I think, is the density of the variants. How much of that new variant do you have? And the other big piece is how many people have immunity, whether it's through vaccination or natural infection. So some of the states that are not seeing a big rise in cases, you guys, are the ones that had a lot of people get sick, recover, and have immunity, and that's part of the reason they're not seeing those big rises.
All right, Doc, I'm going to ask this question, but I can't believe I'm asking it. They're saying that a lot of people are opting to not get their second shot, even though they were vaccinated with their first shot, because they think that was enough. Is this true, and do you think this is a good idea?
This is absolutely true, Al, and it is a terrible idea. And unfortunately, a study came out just yesterday that said after the first shot, you're 80% protected. After the second, you go up to 90%. And a lot of people are taking that 80% as a sign that good enough, I don't need a second shot. But I really want to caution people against this because of the depth and the duration of the protection. So we know that if you get that second shot, you get about 10-fold higher neutralizing antibodies as compared to just the first shot. We also know that the duration or how long those antibodies last is likely to be longer with that second shot. So it really does help solidify that immune response that you get from the vaccine.
You heard the doctor, everybody. Make sure you get both shots. Okay, before we let you go, though, Dr. Kohli, don't think we forgot. It was National Doctors Day.
Yes.
So from all of us here at DBL, we can't thank you enough for being our anchor throughout this pandemic. We appreciate you more than we can say. We love you, Dr. Kohli.
And where's my graphic?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't want to go after our production team, but my name should have been on there.
Okay.
It's a little, you know, be professional, guys.
Thunder.
We love you, Dr. Kohli, honestly, from day one.
I love you guys.
We have pictures of you from day one telling us about this, and we really love you and appreciate you.
And now
Thank
she's
you so
in our
much.
group text.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. She's a lifeline, a lifesaver.
That's right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say some of those pictures with really bad hair days, right?
Yeah, we love you. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you.
We're talking about Ever Given, a 1,300 12-foot-long container ship that's nearly as long as the Empire State Building is tall. The 220-ton ship was grounded at the Suez Canal for 6 days.
So why are we talking about this? Well, there are claims that indicate the blockage caused the global economy to lose $400 million an hour. Yeah, so let's verify. Could the grounding of Ever Given have caused the economy to lose $400 million an hour?
Our sources: Paul Hong, Distinguished University Professor of Global Supply Chain Management and Asian Studies at the University of Toledo, and Lisa Anderson, founder and president of LMA Consulting Group, a supply chain consulting company.
The supply chain was already out of alignment. So now that we have the Suez Canal, it pretty much means that it's gotten even more out of alignment.
First, let's talk about how much trade goes through the Suez Canal daily.
There's about $10 billion worth of trade that actually flow through daily.
And Anderson agrees. A little quick math actually gets us to $416 million an hour of total global trade halted during the grounding of Ever Given.
So we can verify that this claim is true, but actually underestimates the amount of total global trade lost per hour. So what about these claims that toilet paper and coffee will be in short supply because of Ever Given? Well, according to both Anderson and Hong, that's false.
People think that toilet papers are coming from China mainly, but I think toilet paper is primarily from Canada and Mexico, so toilet paper would not be that affected.
Anderson agrees that toilet paper won't be impacted like it was during the beginning of the pandemic.
Toilet paper was more of a panic buy, so people aren't going to necessarily do a panic buy over the missing materials.
According to Hong, 10% of the total coffee trade comes through the Suez Canal, so he says that industry could be slightly impacted.
The impact of a coffee is really there, but it may not be huge.
Over the last few months, Anderson says manufacturing and shipping costs have increased across multiple industries, so any increase in coffee price will likely have more to do with those than the grounding of Ever Given at the Suez Canal.
They've been absorbing some of it, but they're also starting to pass them on to consumers. And I think that for sure it is likely to lead to some inflation over time for sure.
So we can verify, yes, the claim about the grounding of Ever Given costing the global economy approximately $400 million an hour is true.
But there's no need to worry that toilet paper will be out of stock, and unless your favorite coffee comes from Vietnam or Indonesia, you're in the clear as well. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
You can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you're sticking around, here is what's coming up. Just in time for Easter, we are chatting with Oscar winner Mira Sorvino to get the scoop on her latest movie, all about faith. Plus, Lil Nas X and his devil drama, why Nike is suing over those controversial Satan shoes made with human blood. And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
Well, I'm thrilled about it.
I can't. Yeah. You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now.
Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I am Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. Tori's really upset about the group text between Dr. Coley, Al, and Jeff and I. She already started the group text again, inserting herself into the conversation. You look really tan again. Did you mess with the lighting?
You did mess with the lighting, Tori.
No!
Yes, you did.
There's something called the sun. No, I didn't. There's something called the sun, and it alters the exposure. I'm so upset with all of you. Can we move on?
So upset you had to turn the lights down?
You need it a little quiet in the dark.
All right, we're going to get started, Tori. So CBS is shutting down rumors that Sharon Osbourne received a payout of up to $10 million for leaving the talk. Last week, the network said Sharon had decided to leave the show. This comes after she defended her friend Piers Morgan over comments he made about Meghan Markle. Well, that led to a heated exchange with her co-host Cheryl Underwood about race. Sharon later told Entertainment Tonight that she was set up by CBS executives and was blindsided on air when she saw that all the other co-hosts had been giving questions directed at her. Okay.
I'm going to kick it off. One,
please.
It's pretty crazy that Entertainment Tonight is CBS and she's bashing CBS on their network. Little ironic to me. Two, if I did something crazy over the weekend, just say over the weekend, and it went national and every media outlet picked it up, would you guys have some questions for me when we sat down at this table on Monday?
Wouldn't you hope that we did?
Yes.
So you could further explain yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on a show called The Talk, which I thought was, that was kind of the point. And it's weird, we always talk about, how did you feel? Do you feel she's being canceled? Is she being treated unfairly? We're talking about emotions, and once again, the world is about lawyers and contracts. We saw this with Megyn Kelly. When the blackface stuff came up, she got her big $69 million payout. Jeff, in basketball, we saw this with Donald Sterling and his girlfriend, V. Steviano, that recorded him saying something racist at his house. He had to sell his team, but he sold him $4 billion. So is that being canceled? I don't know, but does it matter? Check cleared.
And I think, too, Tori, what's interesting is the lack of trust there. I know if something happened over the weekend, to Jeff's point, where my co-host would want to address it on the show, I would have blind trust with you. Even if the producers said, we need to bring up this topic with Sam, I would know that it would get uncomfortable, like it sometimes does on this show, but I would know at the end of the day that you guys are going to be there for me. Even if I did something egregious, you would help me understand why I did something egregious. And I think that's the difference between our show and other talk shows, Tori.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Do you want to see a bunch of people who actually don't really know each other talking about nuanced and complicated things? Or do you want a bunch of friends that can actually have each other's back? Go there, because the trust there is the difference. And that's what makes DBL DBL. Everyone says it's the chemistry. What really, you just said it. It's the trust that I can go there with you and you have my back in the end. That's way more enjoyable to watch than the fake stuff.
And calling people out. We call each other out all the time. That's
but wouldn't you want that? If I said something crazy, I would want you guys to tell me so I could, one, learn from it, and two, kind of explain my side of the story, because there's always two sides to the story. So you guys are all right.
Jeff, I'll tell you something that I learned from, and I know we have to move on, but this is an important topic. I remember sitting on the panel, you and I, when it used to be 4 people on the panel, and the Erin Andrews story came up about her being filmed in her hotel room against her will, obviously, and she sued for $100 million, and you, and I believe it was Tori or Erica, were outraged, as you should have been, and me and Jeff, we both were like, that's a lot of money. And the reaction that, I can't speak for you, Jeff, but the reaction that I got from you guys changed forever how I perceive monetary value when it comes to somebody's dignity and understanding that that's a woman's body and feeling like it's violated over and over again. Whereas men, we're just like, dude, take the money, and it's just like you can learn. Me and Jeff don't hate women. We just didn't know we're dudes. And so you can learn and move on rather than just being like, the Erica set me up. Like, what?
Right.
So sorry.
I could give you 100 examples. We don't have time.
I could give you a bunch, too. I've learned a lot.
I'm trying to copy off Jeff.
No, I'm just saying I've learned a lot.
Why do you have to one up?
Sam said 100
and you said a bunch like you have have more examples than him.
I just want to let you know that I've learned a lot from you guys. That's all. Okay, so Nike is suing over those Lil Nas X Satan shoes. As we showed you, the rapper teamed up with a streetwear company to release the shoes, which sold out in under a minute yesterday. They are customized Nike Air Max 97s that feature a pentagram and contain real human blood inside the soles. Nike is suing the company for trademark infringement, saying it has the right to control what products bear the distinctive swoosh logo. Lil Nas X was not named in the lawsuit.
What are you laughing at?
I didn't even know that this memory was going to come to the forefront of my mind, but my sister had a little dog a long time ago named Bella that had a natural Nike swoosh marking on its tail. Like all-white dog, black
Really?
Nike swoosh, and my sister and I took a picture. We wrote a letter to Nike trying to get the dog to be the spokesperson. Anyways, it never came to fruition, but that memory came to the forefront. Sorry. Go ahead, Al.
No, I mean, where do you go after that, Sam? I think we should just go to break and then never come back. No, honestly, I looked at this, and again, I'm going to stay on my same track. Contracts. I get it. No matter how you feel about Lil Nas X, he's the best. He's the worst. Nike has a right to be like, hey, we have spent 50, 60 years getting that brand and that logo to where it is. You putting a pentagram next to it is not really what we're feeling.
Where's the blood coming from?
Like,
Whose blood is that,
You can't use a Nike swoosh on anything. You can't just sew that on your jacket and be like, yeah, this is Nike's. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, there is a lot of backlash.
It was a really dumb idea to do it that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of backlash from this. Me and my wife were talking about this story yesterday, and she's like, well, what happened with it? I'm like, maybe just flip on the show once in a while, and you can find out what happened. But, so we were talking about it, and she's like, why is Nike being canceled? Not all over, like the hashtag was cancel Nike.
That's
and I'm like,
fair.
Nike has nothing to do with this. They sold these shoes in 1997,
Right.
and now this other company, so of course
Yeah.
Nike has to sue them and stick up for themselves.
Right, Tori, that's their propriety.
Yeah,
Propriety? Propriety?
Propriety?
No,
You said
propriety. Propriety. No, propriety.
No, just saying it over and over again doesn't make it.
Leave me alone. Go ahead, Tori.
I just think Lil Nas X, first of all, that was adorable. Lil Nas X has been so smart, I think, about the way he's handled this, including this tweet I wanted to read you. Someone wrote about his shoes, "It's sick and depraved and an attempt to destroy our society." And he wrote back, "There's a mass shooting every week that our government does nothing to stop. Me sliding down a CGI pole isn't what's destroying society." And I liked what he had to say, and he was provoking people into, that's what good artists do. However, to take a Nike and stick a pentagram on it with some blood is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Of course you're gonna sue. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
And Tori, I don't think the Nike swoosh is what people bought it for. It just seemed like the shoe, you could even copy the shoe in a bootleg way.
He didn't have to put it on.
Why did you put the most distinctive logo on the planet?
True.
Like, I didn't get that.
I know.
All right, so we're going to move on to Katie Couric. She skipped the makeup chair for her recent People magazine photo shoot. The veteran journalist appears in the annual Beautiful issue Makeup Free. Katie, who is 64, said the experience made her feel, quote, liberated and vulnerable. She told the magazine she hopes shoots like this expand the idea of what and who is considered beautiful. Watch.
We've been so conditioned to see young faces that when you see someone who's older, it's almost like, and we need to stop that. We need to start celebrating and appreciating women at every age.
This makes me so happy. In fact, I'm going to put pressure on our producers over there, both of them executive producers. One day soon, here comes Rob, the cameraman. I'm going to put this on camera. Can we do a makeup-free episode?
I thought of that.
Yes.
To say it.
Can we?
Yes.
Yes, so we are going to do, okay, so we just decided right here, right now, we are going to do a makeup-free episode soon. And I'm really happy about this.
My forehead is shiny now.
What?
I don't know if can we do some prep for that?
What do you mean?
Like I don't know how it looks.
You're the one that has eyebrows. I have no eyebrows. I'm going to do a makeup-free episode with no eyebrows.
We better wait for a day where Tori's off. I'm kidding, Tori. I'm totally kidding.
Wait, I know. Wait. That was really funny. Let me just say something about Katie Couric really quick. When her husband died of colon cancer, she went on air, unheard of at the time in the 90s, and did a colonoscopy on air. So I'm very proud of Katie Couric. Let's not forget, she's a pioneer in sort of saying, like, you want to take a look at this? Take a look at this. So good on her.
But is this, if we did do that show, which it appears like we are, like realistically, like real talk here, Katie Couric's 64, Sam, you're 40, Tori's under 40. Is that kind of mocking what they're doing in some sort of way? Like, would we get any pushback from that? I'm just asking like an honest question.
I hope not, because there is a difference between being 40 and being 64. So I'm with you 100%. But I will say, when I have no makeup on, even though I personally might be okay with it, broadcast on camera, I am going to feel insecure with sparse or sparse eyebrows and no pinch in my cheek, so to speak. Blush. I can't talk when you two are looking at me. I can't. I'm done.
Well, that's going to not bode well for the rest of the show.
Sam, you are adorable. I think it's a great idea, and I love what she's doing. And don't forget that Katie Couric is bringing up something. There's a reason that there's only young people that you see on TV. That means that there's a lane for older people on TV.
Well said, Al.
She looks like a lot of Americans. Honestly, she looks like a lot of Americans, and I think that there's a lane for that.
There is a lane for that.
So somebody do it.
We are going to do it.
Not us. I'm saying for older Americans on television.
She did.
She just did.
Just her,
She just did.
I'm sure. Okay. Coming up on DBL, we're catching up with actress Mira Sorvino from reliving her Romy and Michelle days to what she's been up to now. Do not miss it. And our DBL staff is working hard at home during the pandemic. We miss you guys. When COVID is behind us, we'll hopefully be reunited in the studio. We'll be right back.
My new team.
We want to take you on an inside look at the courtroom where the trial will take place. Because of COVID concerns, there are limits to many things you would normally see. Starting off, everyone will be required to wear a mask. Only one print reporter and one TV reporter are allowed in each day, so all media will share a stream of 3 cameras set up in the courtroom. One will show the podium where both the prosecution and defense attorneys will argue their sides. The next will show the tables where Derek Chauvin will be sitting with his team, the others 4 state attorneys. The third camera will show the judge and any witnesses being examined. Here's something that has not changed. No one from the jury can be shown at any point, but they will be present in socially distanced seats. Others in the courtroom will be a judge's clerk and a court reporter who will transcribe the proceedings. Also new during this trial, no family members can be shown in the gallery. That's the area that is normally full of spectators. Only one member of the Chauvin family is allowed each day, as well as only one member from George Floyd's family. So you won't see a normally packed courtroom for a high-profile trial, just a few key people.
Welcome back to DBL. Today, we are talking to an Oscar-winning actress, activist, and mother of 4. Her newest role in the faith-based film called The Girl Who Believes in Miracles is coming to theaters this Easter. We can't wait. Please welcome Mira Sorvino. There she is.
Yes.
Hi. Hi, Mira. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to talk to you about your new movie. But first, I'm already receiving comments from our viewers saying that their all-time favorite film is Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. So 2 decades later, this movie is still referenced. Kourtney Kardashian paid homage to your character just last Christmas. Mira, what do you make of the increase in nostalgia for this particular movie of yours?
I don't know. I think the movie stands the test of time because people always relate to being a geek in high school, and they always relate to loving their best friend and being true to yourself, which is really the ultimate motto of the movie, being true to yourself and having fun, you know, in your own zany way. And I think that that individuality and love message is sort of resounding and timeless.
Mira, very quickly, first of all, thank you for being here. We need to get serious. Yesterday, we talked about Woody Allen's recent interview on our show. You worked with him in 1995, but have since separated yourself from the filmmaker. Did you catch the part where he said actors who did this to him are only persecuting an innocent man, and how did you take that?
I have no comment on that, but I think that Dylan Farrow and Mia Farrow were incredibly brave. I saw the whole documentary, and I think that speaks for itself. He's a guilty man, and he abused his daughter, and I had no further comment on that.
Thank you, Mira. And we're going to switch gears back to your movie. It's a faith-based film. What made you want to do another faith-based film?
Well, I'm a Christian, and I believe in God and Jesus, and this is a very sweet, lovely movie. And, you know, faith-based movies are their own genre. They're not as artsy, they're not full of violence, they're not full of thrills, but there's a big audience for them. And I think that this particular film, The Girl Who Believes in Miracles, really hits the sweet spot in what people want out of a beautiful Easter movie. It's really about the risen Christ and what is possible if you truly believe in God. And it's, you know, characterized, embodied by this little girl who is, her faith is just so pure and open and simple that she believes there's no limits to what God will be able to do, and he does it through her for a time. And you know, it's just a very positive message, even though it is a faith-based movie, and it starts with the sermon, as a lot of them do. The story is not preachy, it's just loving and beautiful and very heart-wrenching, actually, but with a feel-good ending. So I do encourage families who like faith-based movies to go see this. And Austin Johnson, who plays the little girl who becomes sort of a faith healer in the story, is incredible. And I love Peter Coyote in it. He's wonderful as my dad. My part is very emotionally harrowing, but it's really about a mother's love for her daughter, for me.
Mira, I got a funny story because I did a faith-based film last year during COVID, and it's coming out next year. I'm not comparing myself to an Academy Award-winning actress or anything. But I did it with Mira Sorvino is going to be in the movie that I'm in. And I told my mom I'm doing a movie with Mira Sorvino. And she's like, I love Mira Sorvino. She loves her. And I was like, no. I think it's Mira Sorvino. I think it's
Jeff,
Mira
you
was
also
great.
told your co-host that too.
Yes, and when I got to set, I was like, do not say Mira. Do not say Mira.
Yeah.
Mina.
In fact, Mira, I went home and I was like, oh my gosh, Jeff, and Mira Sorvino is fantastic. But
yes.
you know, we all love Mira Sorvino as well at my household, and we were all so excited for you, Jeff.
Yeah, so at least we're in the same genre. We're in the same genre, so it might not be my last mistake.
Well, say hi to your mother for me.
Hey,
you already did. That's
Mira,
amazing.
what are you doing? Anything traditional on Easter Sunday? What do you guys do in your household with 4 kids?
I'm not really sure what that looks like this year still. Maybe we'll find like an outdoor service somewhere. The kids come downstairs and find the Easter baskets, and they get all excited, and the baskets are larger and larger each year. The bunny is very generous. We've started doing this one golden egg as like the main prize, you know, which has some toy in it. But, you know, it's also the sort of egg count, who gets the most.
Exactly.
Oh, good pun. Good
exactly. Okay. Mira's like,
pretty normal. We're pretty normal people.
Well, we appreciate you, Mira. We really do. We cannot wait to see your film. We strongly encourage all of our viewers to make sure that they watch it. So another reminder, The Girl Who Believes in Miracles is out this Friday. We'll be right back. Thank you, Mira. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We all know that.
DBL.
I'll just
100, we always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now. Welcome back to DBL. It's finally spring. You wouldn't know it here in Denver because it's snowing, and it's time to think about your home. Did you know a well-maintained yard actually helps protect against common homeowners insurance claims? We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck presented by the Hartford. First, clean out your gutters. That prevents blockage that could send water into your home. Second, regularly mow your lawn. It can lower wildfire risk, especially if you live in a dry climate. And finally, plants within 5 feet of your home should be fleshy and moist. When it comes to quality and affordable home insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more.
Now,
are you guys really good at maintaining your yards?
I was about to ask Jeff, because I think you have a nice sized yard. Do you have like a lawnmower or like a riding mower? I always wanted a riding mower because my dad had one.
I got to show you a picture of my lawnmower. It's the most embarrassing thing. I bought it for $80 and it plugs in, and I'm not even joking. It looks like Lawson's toy. It's this big because I'm so cheap and I was buying everything else. I'm like, a lawnmower too? Now I mow my lawn with this little Lawson lawn. I got to send you a picture. It's super embarrassing.
We got to pull
and I
up
won't
money.
get a new one.
You know what we do?
What?
We call the boy next door. He comes over, $10, mows the lawn.
What
there was
year
some,
is this?
There was some.
What?
I could go down a weird story.
You used to mow
You were
lawns?
reading the script and it got a little weird. Now you said the neighbors coming over to do things.
Wow. Wow. We'll be right back.
It got very 80s movie in here.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by... Hello, I'm William.
We're talking about Ever Given, a 1,300 12-foot-long container ship that's nearly as long as the Empire State Building is tall. The 220-ton ship was grounded at the Suez Canal for 6 days.
So why are we talking about this? Well, there are claims that indicate the blockage caused the global economy to lose $400 million an hour. Yeah, so let's verify. Could the grounding of Ever Given have caused the economy to lose $400 million an hour?
Our sources, Paul Hong, Distinguished University Professor of Global Supply Chain Management and Asian Studies at the University of Toledo, and Lisa Anderson, founder and president of LMA Consulting Group, a supply chain consulting company.
The supply chain was already out of alignment. So now that we have the Suez Canal, it pretty much means that it's gotten even more out of alignment.
First, let's talk about how much trade goes through the Suez Canal daily.
There's about $10 billion worth of trade that actually flow through daily.
And Anderson agrees. A little quick math actually gets us to $416 million an hour of total global trade halted during the grounding of Ever Given. So we can verify that this claim is true, but actually underestimates the amount of total global trade lost per hour. So what about these claims that toilet paper and coffee will be in short supply because of Ever Given? Well, according to both Anderson and Hong, that's false.
People think that toilet papers are coming from China mainly, but I think toilet paper is primarily from Canada and Mexico. So toilet paper would not be that affected.
Anderson agrees that toilet paper won't be impacted like it was during the beginning of the pandemic.
Toilet paper was more of a panic buy. So people aren't going to necessarily do a panic buy over the missing materials.
According to Hong, 10% of the total coffee trade comes through the Suez Canal. So he says that industry could be slightly impacted.
The impact of a coffee is really there, but it may not be huge.
Over the last few months, Anderson says manufacturing and shipping costs have increased across multiple industries. So any increase in coffee price will likely have more to do with those than the grounding of Ever Given at the Suez Canal.
They've been absorbing some of it, but they're also starting to pass them on to consumers. And I think that for sure it is likely to lead to some inflation over time for sure.
So we can verify, yes, the claim about the grounding of Ever Given costing the global economy approximately $400 million an hour is true.
But there's no need to worry that toilet paper will be out of stock, and unless your favorite coffee comes from Vietnam or Indonesia, you're in the clear as well. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Tomorrow on DBL, a mystery seared into a small community's mind after a fire chief's wife dies in a horrific inferno.
Dad called and said, Kim, Nanette's dead. And I just, what? And just immediately started screaming, they killed her.
Was it an accident or cold-blooded murder? That's in True Crime Chronicles. And we're catching up with entrepreneur and former reality TV star Bill Rancic, from helping Juliana beat cancer to winning The Apprentice almost 20 years ago. He's telling us what he's learned along the way. That's tomorrow, right here on DBL.
You do not want to miss it. Welcome back to DBL. I have a fun moment to show you guys. So last night, little Miles, just roll the tape.
Go Miles! Go Miles! Go Miles! You got it!
Yeah!
You got it!
Yeah! Come here.
His first steps, you guys.
Those are his first steps?
Those are his first. We could tell that he was about to make his first steps because he would stand and just kind of like stand there all awkward for like 3 seconds. I was like, quick, Mark, get your phone out. Get your phone out. He's going to do it. And sure enough, he did it.
Wow. That's a memory for life.
We saw Leighton's first steps.
I know.
Remember?
I know. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's something that's tattooed. Like, you'll never forget that.
I know. And Sophie was so proud of him, Al.
Yeah. There's a lot of good in this world. I know it's a tough time, but just videos like that, I can get through Tuesday.
It's like Tori showing up to work in the morning.
Yeah. Call that happy hour Tori.
DBL is new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now.
On Daily Blast Live.
It's day 2 of the Derek Chauvin trial as the first witnesses come forward, including an MMA fighter who said he watched George Floyd die.
He was lifeless. He didn't move. He didn't speak.
An Asian woman brutally beaten as people appear to just look on. Why didn't they do anything? Sharon Osbourne exits the talk. Will she get a massive $10 million payout? And does she deserve it? And Mira Sorvino live on DBL today. Don't miss our interview with the Oscar-winning actress.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, March 30th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. Let's get right to it because we are continuing to follow the murder trial for Derek Chauvin. One of the witnesses testifying today is the young girl who filmed the video of George Floyd's arrest. She was 17 years old at the time, so they are not showing video of her. But here is some of her testimony from earlier this morning.
So was there any point in your video, whether it's 9 or 10 minutes, that Mr. Chauvin ever let up or got up off of the neck of Mr. Floyd that you saw?
No, if anything, he actually was kneeling harder. Looked like he was shoving his knee in his neck, like he was feeding off of our energy.
Another witness is this mixed martial arts fighter who testified that Chauvin was using a technique designed to cut off air circulation. Here is some of what he said yesterday.
The officer on top was shimmying to actually get the final choke in while he was on top to get the kill choke. He looked at me right here. It's the only time he looked at me. When I said it was a blood choke, it's the only time he looked up. We looked each other dead in our eyes. Yeah, and when I said it, he acknowledged it.
We also heard testimony from a 911 dispatcher who watched the live video from the scene and called the officer's supervisor because she felt, quote, something wasn't right. Wow. Al, what did you think of the witness testimony? First of all, we were all, to some degree, witnesses since we had all seen that video. But what did you think of their testimony?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, and I'm going to relate this to the Tiger King, but I'm not going to, make light of this. I think the Tiger King gained so much traction because it was this weird time in the world where everybody in the world was at home. And so this random documentary about tigers became a national phenomenon. And this was the same thing with this trial. We all watched. But this is the first time we've been able to hear from the witnesses, the people that had boots on the ground. They seemed credible. They seemed lucid. And Jeff, I thought about the young lady that filmed it because not only did she film a man's death, but she was then re-traumatized because a lot of people with so much anger then went after her for saying, why didn't you help? She then had to seek mental help. And now she has to, before her 18th birthday, go back on the stand and talk about this again. And I worry about that young woman.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what we think. I think our minds are made up, right? And by us, I mean just the community around us.
The people,
And
yes.
when the prosecution talks, they're going to say C. When the defense talks, they're going to say C. And they're going to want their theory proven right. It doesn't matter about us. It matters about the jury right now and what's going to happen. It's down to 12 people now what happens with the rest of this case. And hopefully we'll find out in 4 weeks.
Tori, what do you make of it?
I think Jeff's right, it really doesn't matter what we think, but certain details that I heard will influence the juror, and one of them was that the 911 operator allegedly thought the tape had stopped because it was so much pressure for so long that she thought there was a malfunction in the video camera. Those types of details give you chills, but they also convince jurors of intent, of negligence, these things that they need to prove in order to get it across. I think also, it's strange that at the end, we all saw a murder, and when he called for his mama, I don't think anyone can forget hearing that. And it's someone held a sign that said he summoned all mamas when he said mama.
Well said, Tori. Heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And he screamed out, "I can't breathe," 29 times. All right, so there is some shocking new video of an attack on an Asian woman in New York City. So a warning to our viewers. What we're about to show you is a graphic, and it definitely is going to be disturbing to some viewers. So I want you to take a moment if you want to turn or pause the channel, leave the room. So here we go. Security camera footage shows a woman walking past a building in Midtown Manhattan when she is randomly attacked. Wow. A man kicks her to the ground. He then stomps on her head, kicks her in the face repeatedly before leaving the scene. If you also notice, there's 2 security officers who witnessed the attack. They stood by and were not seen offering any help. Police are still looking for the suspect who you see here. Look at that image. Do you recognize this person? And this is also from a shot from a security camera in the area. Now, the woman was stable when she was taken to the hospital, but she reportedly suffered a fractured pelvis. Meantime, those 2 security guards seen in the video have been suspended by the management company pending an investigation. So the question is, what would you do if you saw this happening? And should there be any consequences, Al, for doing nothing, especially if you're a security guard?
I mean, I hope I can speak for most of our audience when I say, what would I do? And the answer is not nothing. Not nothing.
Right.
I mean, it looked like, Jeff, that he got up to close the door. And I've lived in New York for 5 years, and you know, you see a lot of crazy things. You tune things out that are happening a foot from you on the subway. I get that. But when you see a human being that I feel like could have been killed. I mean, one more kick to the head, that could have been it right there. The fact that they didn't do anything, there have to be consequences. I think losing their job is the least of them.
Yeah, I think we're asking the wrong question. There should definitely be consequences for these security guards. How about this sick man who did this? He's gigantic. The security guards, I don't even want to talk about security guards. They should be fired and dealt with in their own time. How about we talk about finding this man?
Yes.
How about that? What would you do if you're a security guard? I don't care what I would do. I wasn't there. This man kicked an innocent woman's face in multiple times and broke her pelvis. How about we focus our attention on what's going on right here and get this person off the street, because it's disgusting.
Well said. Let's put up that picture real quick. Everybody, if you know who this person is, please contact New York Police Department. Please, let's find this person. We're going to switch gears here. Here's some video you don't see every day. People playing volleyball in front of an active volcano. Wow. This video was taken in Iceland, where a lot of people have been going to see the molten lava flowing from the mountain. Tori, would you be running? Would you think this is cool? What would you do, Tori?
I've actually, ever since Joe versus the volcano, always wanted to get a little close to one. But again, it's not too hot. Like in Hawaii, you can get pretty close while the lava's oozing. You just have to be pretty careful. Great movie, by the way.
Joe versus the volcano with Tom Hanks,
Yes,
right?
We're referencing movies that are 33 years old.
And Meg Ryan.
And Meg Ryan.
Do you ever read Jack Handy?
Yeah.
When he's got one that says, if you ever drop your keys in lava, forget about it, man, because they're gone.
I love it. Okay, so talk about having a bad day. A man was shocked to discover his car had been taken over by a swarm of more than 15,000 bees, all while he was shopping inside a store. The bees had invaded his back seat, according to police. An off-duty firefighter, who happened to also be a beekeeper, came and safely relocated all of the bees. It took about 2 hours. Only one person suffered a bee sting, a security officer at the supermarket. Al, what would you do if you returned to your car and found it was covered in bees?
Go to the dealership and get a new car?
It's not the dealership's fault.
I'm not ever getting that car again. Something about it is attracting 15,000 bees. Like, let's call that a wash.
You would immediately dismiss that car.
I can't get back in it. What, am I going to park it again and let it happen again? I can't. Or what if it's when I'm driving? I can't. I'm
Albert,
done.
It's an anomaly.
It's the queen bee.
What, Tori?
It's the queen. It's when the queen bee goes somewhere, that's where the swarm will go. So the queen chose that car. Maybe
Why is it so dark in your house?
Closet?
Why did it? What's going on? Did your power?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm going to tell you.
Is that better?
Listen, I'm going to tell you what Tori does. When you do the show from home, you could adjust like the brightness on your screen. But if you put it dark, you look a little tanner.
Oh, she wanted to look
I think
tan.
Tanny was looking a little summer kiss. Am I lying, Tori? Am I lying?
You wanted some sun kiss?
No, the sun just moved. The sun moved and it made it darker.
No.
It's the sun.
I don't know if I buy it.
She was hoping to look sun-kissed.
I think you were.
You know what I would do with that car? I'd somehow get it to work and be like, Tori, I forgot my phone in the car. Could you go get it?
Wow. Wow.
Coming up on DBL, we are talking to Oscar-winning actress Mira Sorvino from 90s nostalgia. From Romy and Michelle's high school reunion to her latest projects, we're going to talk all about it. Plus, a new twist in the satanic saga of Lil Nas X will tell you why Nike is suing over his devilish sneakers. And a stunning new report in the middle of Holy Week. Are fewer Americans really going to church? The possible reasons why or why not, coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by... This is a Smile Direct.
We want to take you on an inside look at the courtroom where the trial will take place. Because of COVID concerns, there are limits to many things you would normally see. Starting off, everyone will be required to wear a mask. Only one print reporter and one TV reporter are allowed in each day. So all media will share a stream of 3 cameras set up in the courtroom. One will show the podium where both the prosecution and defense attorneys will argue their sides. The next will show the tables where Derek Chauvin will be sitting with his team, the others 4 state attorneys. The third camera will show the judge and any witnesses being examined. Here's something that has not changed. No one from the jury can be shown at any point, but they will be present in socially distanced seats. Others in the courtroom will be a judge's clerk and a court reporter who will transcribe the proceedings. Also new during this trial, no family members can be shown in the gallery. That's the area that is normally full of spectators. Only one member of the Chauvin family is allowed each day, as well as only one member from George Floyd's family. So you won't see a normally packed courtroom for a high-profile trial, just a few key people.
Welcome back to DBL, everyone. Check out all our coworkers at home during the pandemic. Keep up the great work, everyone. So for the first time ever, a majority of Americans say they do not belong to any sort of organized religion. As long as Gallup has been polling Americans, a majority of respondents say they're members at house of worships, including churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples. That is until this past year in 2020, only 47% of Americans said they belong to a house of worship. That's down from 50% in 2018. And as recently as 1999, 70% of Americans said they belong to some sort of church. Gallup said the fall in membership was due to an increasing number of Americans who say they have no religious preference. But DBL Nation, you know we always want to hear from you. What do you think? Are you a member of a church, synagogue, mosque? We're going to look at our tag board right there. Go to dblvote.com to let us know. What do you make of this?
Gallup didn't factor in COVID. You can't go to church during COVID this past year, so of course numbers are down. I hate surveys that skew things. It's not that I'm upset about what they did the poll about, but it's just skewing things to make people like religion's bad. You shouldn't believe in this. Listen, I don't go to church every day, but it's good to believe in something. It's good to have religion. It's good to teach your kids something. It's good to go somewhere on Sunday morning instead of being hungover. There's a lot of positives to the church, and I understand all the bad that goes with it. I get that. I'm not part of that. I don't do that. I go there on Christmas and Easter, and I believe, and I want my kids to believe in something higher than me, than what humans are. To this rhetoric that we're putting out now that church is terrible and it's not good for you and I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like it. It's just me personally. I don't like it.
I think what you're referring to is the dogma. Go ahead, Tori. I just want to really quickly clarify for our viewers what Jeff's referring to is the dogmatism attached to religion, right? Like the judgment. You are very spiritual and you see the benefit. In fact, I have really adopted the power of prayer ever since, you know, Eric has been in the hospital. So I am right there with you. I am so grateful for God and the power of prayer. So amen to that. But Tori, what were you going to say?
First of all, I love that you guys said that. I'm strongly observant in terms of Judaism and traditions, but I think organized religion has done a lot of harm to this generation, meaning they were told that if they're gay or trans for a long time, they were going to go to hell. They were said that they couldn't get married. They were said that they were sometimes molested by people that they trusted in authority. So I believe in believing in something, but I have a real issue with organized religion and why it's going down makes perfect sense to me, because I think people are trusting to pray outside of that organized religion because there's a lot of flaws that we have seen uncovered.
Well,
so I think that's important to put out there.
Well, Tori, I think we're agreeing, but on the fact that believing in something is a good thing. And Jeff, I am on board with that. The only thing I'm going to push back on with you and Tori is I feel like we're missing the field. You know how like you can decide whether Tiger Woods will win the Masters or the rest of the golfers? We're not factoring in there's other stuff out there. You can, on Sundays, be part of a brunch group. You and Chris go out and play golf on Sundays. That can be your religion. You guys get together. You talk about your family. You talk about what you want to do this week. And that can become a religion for you.
Yes.
So a lot of people are faithful to something. They get up and go to their yoga thing outside and watch the sunrise. Whatever it is, that can be your religion. That can be how you start yourself for the week. So I don't think it's necessarily a knock against religion. I just think just like every time we have a story about the Grammys and we're like the ratings were down, it's because there's more stuff to watch. There's more things than there was in 1980. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing. I think it's going to go down, but for everything.
Yeah.
All the time.
I know. It's a controversial
But I get what you're saying.
Point that a lot of people, you know, this book was written 2,000 years ago. I don't necessarily believe everything written there, because if you translate it through 100 languages, it's tough to dissect anyway, right? And so things in there were bad. I get that. But it's like nowadays it's crazy. You say like, I'm Catholic. I was in just this stigma that's attached to being Catholic right now and the way people look and talk. And it's, I don't know. I mean, we're all about unity right now. I don't feel it when I talk about religion. And I don't go there. I've made my confirmation in my communion. I've never been molested by a priest. I know that's what is in the back of everyone's mind right now. But it's like we have to have these conversations instead of just judging everybody all the time about everything and putting labels on people.
Well said.
I put a label on myself. I'm great.
Good icebreaker.
55%.
I love you, buddy.
Yes, they are a member of a church or synagogue or mosque. All right, we'll be right back.
DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
Well, I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
Yeah. You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach. And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now. back to DBL. With millions around the world receiving their vaccines and with spring right around the corner, a lot of us are ready to put the pandemic behind us and get back to normal life. But even though we may be ready, the virus simply isn't yet. Take a look at what CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky said just yesterday as she appeared to choke back tears.
I'm going to lose the script, and I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom. We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
Oh, wow. Dr. Payal Kohli joins us live. So, Dr. Kohli, Dr. Walensky's emotional plea, it hits hard and it's relatable. What do you make of her comment about impending doom? And should we be bracing for yet another surge?
Sam, it hit me pretty hard too, and I really have to say we've ridden the waves up and down, you know, the surges up and down. We've all sort of become a little bit numb to it, but this particular one has me worried too for two reasons. The first is these new variants. The B117 variant, which originates from the UK, is quickly becoming dominant. We know it's more contagious, we know that it's more deadly, and that's part of what's involved in this rise in cases. The second piece of this is that the cases had plateaued and now they're going up, despite the fact that a lot of people are getting vaccinated. So nationally, 29% of Americans have received at least one dose, and 16% have received both doses. So the fact that so many people have already gotten vaccinated and the cases are going up instead of going down has me particularly concerned.
Yeah, so the doctor's fear was COVID-19 cases are on the rise all over the country. But what about states that opened first, like Mississippi? And I'm going to throw Florida in there, too. Are they also on the rise?
This is a really interesting question because not every state that's opening up is seeing an increase in cases. So people are confused as to why this is happening. So you have to keep in mind that opening up is just one piece of how much the cases are going to increase. The biggest piece, I think, is the density of the variants. How much of that new variant do you have? And the other big piece is how many people have immunity, whether it's through vaccination or natural infection. So some of the states that are not seeing a big rise in cases, you guys, are the ones that had a lot of people get sick, recover, and have immunity, and that's part of the reason they're not seeing those big rises.
All right, Doc, I'm going to ask this question, but I can't believe I'm asking it. They're saying that a lot of people are opting to not get their second shot, even though they were vaccinated with their first shot, because they think that was enough. Is this true, and do you think this is a good idea?
This is absolutely true, Al, and it is a terrible idea. And unfortunately, a study came out just yesterday that said after the first shot, you're 80% protected. After the second, you go up to 90%. And a lot of people are taking that 80% as a sign that good enough, I don't need a second shot. But I really want to caution people against this because of the depth and the duration of the protection. So we know that if you get that second shot, you get about 10-fold higher neutralizing antibodies as compared to just the first shot. We also know that the duration or how long those antibodies last is likely to be longer with that second shot. So it really does help solidify that immune response that you get from the vaccine.
You heard the doctor, everybody. Make sure you get both shots. Okay, before we let you go, though, Dr. Kohli, don't think we forgot. It was National Doctors Day.
Yes.
So from all of us here at DBL, we can't thank you enough for being our anchor throughout this pandemic. We appreciate you more than we can say. We love you, Dr.
And where's
Kohli.
my graphic?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't want to go after our production team, but my name should have been on there.
Okay.
It's a little, you know, be professional, guys.
Thunder.
We love you, Dr. Kohli, honestly, from day one.
I love you guys.
We have pictures of you from day one telling us about this, and we really love you and appreciate you.
And now
Thank
she's
you so
in our
much.
group text.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. She's a lifeline, a lifesaver.
That's right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say some of those pictures with really bad hair days, right?
Yeah, we love you. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Today we're talking about Ever Given, a 1,300 12-foot-long container ship that's nearly as long as the Empire State Building is tall. The 220-ton ship was grounded at the Suez Canal for 6 days.
So why are we talking about this? Well, there are claims that indicate the blockage caused the global economy to lose $400 million an hour. Yeah, so let's verify. Could the grounding of Ever Given have caused the economy to lose $400 million an hour? Our sources: Paul Hong, Distinguished University Professor of Global Supply Chain Management and Asian Studies at the University of Toledo, and Lisa Anderson, founder and president of LMA Consulting Group, a supply chain consulting company.
The supply chain was already out of alignment. So now that we have the Suez Canal, it pretty much means that it's gotten even more out of alignment.
First, let's talk about how much trade goes through the Suez Canal daily.
There's about $10 billion worth of trade that actually flow through daily.
And Anderson agrees. A little quick math actually gets us to $416 million an hour of total global trade halted during the grounding of Ever Given. So we can verify that this claim is true, but actually underestimates the amount of total global trade lost per hour. So what about these claims that toilet paper and coffee will be in short supply because of Ever Given? Well, according to both Anderson and Hong, that's false.
People think the toilet papers are coming from China mainly, but I think toilet paper is primarily from Canada and Mexico, so toilet paper would not be that affected.
Anderson agrees that toilet paper won't be impacted like it was during the beginning of the pandemic.
Toilet paper was more of a panic buy, so people aren't going to necessarily do a panic buy over the missing materials.
According to Hong, 10% of the total coffee trade comes through the Suez Canal, so he says that industry could be slightly impacted.
The impact of a coffee is really there, but it may not be huge.
Over the last few months, Anderson says manufacturing and shipping costs have increased across multiple industries, so any increase in coffee price will likely have more to do with those than the grounding of Ever Given at the Suez Canal.
They've been absorbing some of it, but they're also starting to pass them on to consumers. And I think that for sure it is likely to lead to some inflation over time for sure.
So we can verify, yes, the claim about the grounding of Ever Given costing the global economy approximately $400 million an hour is true. But there's no need to worry that toilet paper will be out of stock, and unless your favorite coffee comes from Vietnam or Indonesia, you're in the clear as well. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Daytil.
You can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you're sticking around, here is what's coming up. Just in time for Easter, we are chatting with Oscar winner Mira Sorvino to get the scoop on her latest movie, all about faith. Plus, Lil Nas X and his devil drama, why Nike is suing over those controversial Satan shoes made with human blood. And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
Yeah. You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now.
Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome to DBL. I am Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. Tori's really upset about the group text between Dr. Coley, Al, and Jeff and I. She already started the group text again, inserting herself into the conversation. You look really tan again. Did you mess with the lighting?
You did mess with the lighting, Tori.
No!
Yes, you did.
There's something called the sun. No, I didn't. There's something called the sun, and it alters the exposure. I'm so upset with all of you. Can we move on?
So upset you had to turn the lights down?
You need it a little quiet in the dark.
All right, we're going to get started, Tori. So CBS is shutting down rumors that Sharon Osbourne received a payout of up to $10 million for leaving the talk. Last week, the network said Sharon had decided to leave the show. This comes after she defended her friend Piers Morgan over comments he made about Meghan Markle. Well, that led to a heated exchange with her co-host Cheryl Underwood about race. Sharon later told Entertainment Tonight that she was set up by CBS executives and was blindsided on air when she saw that all the other co-hosts had been giving questions directed at her. Okay.
I'm going to kick it off. One,
please.
It's pretty crazy that Entertainment Tonight is CBS and she's bashing CBS on their network. Little ironic to me. Two, if I did something crazy over the weekend, just say over the weekend, and it went national and every media outlet picked it up, would you guys have some questions for me when we sat down at this table on Monday?
Wouldn't you hope that we did?
Yes.
So you could further explain yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on a show called The Talk, which I thought was, that was kind of the point. And it's weird, you know, we always talk about, you know, how did you feel? Do you feel she's being canceled? Is she being treated unfairly? We're talking about emotions. And once again, the world is about lawyers and contracts. We saw this with Megyn Kelly. When the blackface stuff came up, she got her big $69 million payout. Jeff, in basketball, we saw this with Donald Sterling and his girlfriend, V. Steviano, that recorded him saying something racist at his house. He had to sell his team, but he sold him $4 billion. So is that being canceled? I don't know, but does it matter? Check cleared.
And I think, too, Tori, what's interesting is the lack of trust there. You know, I know if something happened over the weekend, to Jeff's point, where my co-host would want to address it on the show, I would have blind trust with you. Even if the producers said, we need to bring up this topic with Sam, I would know that it would get uncomfortable, like it sometimes does on this show, but I would know at the end of the day that you guys are going to be there for me. Even if I did something egregious, you would help me understand why I did something egregious. And I think that's the difference between our show and other talk shows, Tori.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Do you want to see a bunch of people who actually don't really know each other talking about nuanced and complicated things? Or do you want a bunch of friends that can actually have each other's back? Go there, because the trust there is the difference. And that's what makes DBL DBL. Everyone says it's the chemistry. What really, you just said it. It's the trust that I can go there with you and you have my back in the end. That's way more enjoyable to watch than the fake stuff.
And calling people out. We call each other out all the time. That's
but wouldn't you want that? If I said something crazy, I would want you guys to tell me so I could, one, learn from it, and two, kind of explain my side of the story, because there's always two sides to the story.
Yeah.
So you guys are all right.
Jeff, I'll tell you something that I learned from, and I know we have to move on, but this is an important topic. I remember sitting on the panel, you and I, when it used to be 4 people on the panel, and the Erin Andrews story came up about her being filmed in her hotel room against her will, obviously, and she sued for $100 million, and you, and I believe it was Tori or Erica, were outraged, as you should have been, and me and Jeff, we both were like, that's a lot of money. And the reaction that, I can't speak for you, Jeff, but the reaction that I got from you guys changed forever how I perceive monetary value when it comes to somebody's dignity and understanding that that's a woman's body and feeling like it's violated over and over again. Whereas men, we're just like, dude, take the money, you know? And it's just like, you can learn. Me and Jeff don't hate women. We just didn't know we're dudes. And so you can learn and move on rather than just being like, the Erica set me up. Like, what?
Right.
You know, so sorry.
I could give you 100 examples. We don't have time.
I could give you a bunch, too. I've learned a lot.
Don't be trying to copy off Jeff.
No, I'm just saying I've learned a lot
Why do
from
you have
my
to one up?
co-hosts.
He said 100 and you said a bunch like you have more examples than him.
I just want to let you know that I've learned a lot from you guys. That's all. Okay, so Nike is suing over those Lil Nas X Satan shoes. As we showed you, the rapper teamed up with a streetwear company to release the shoes, which sold out in under a minute yesterday. They are customized Nike Air Max 97s that feature a pentagram and contain real human blood inside the soles. Nike is suing the company for trademark infringement, saying it has the right to control what products bear the distinctive swoosh logo. Lil Nas X was not named in the lawsuit.
What are you laughing at?
I didn't even know that this memory was going to come to the forefront of my mind, but my sister had a little dog a long time ago named Bella that had a natural Nike swoosh marking on its tail. Like all-white dog, black Nike swoosh, and my sister and I took a picture. We wrote a letter to Nike trying to get the dog to be the spokesperson. Anyways, it never came to fruition, but that memory came to the forefront. Sorry. Go ahead, Al.
No, I mean, where do you go after that, Sam? I think we should just go to break and then never come back. No, honestly, I looked at this, and again, I'm going to stay on my same track. Contracts. I get it. No matter how you feel about Lil Nas X, he's the best. He's the worst. Nike has a right to be like, hey, we have spent 50, 60 years getting that brand and that logo to where it is. You putting a pentagram next to it is not really what we're feeling.
Where's the blood coming from?
Like,
Whose blood
you
is
can't
that,
use
Jeff?
a Nike swoosh on anything. You can't just sew that on your jacket and be like, yeah, this is Nike's. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, there is a lot of backlash.
It was a really dumb idea to do it that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of backlash from this. Me and my wife were talking about this story yesterday, and she's like, well, what happened with it? I'm like, maybe just flip on the show once in a while, and you can find out what happened. But, so we were talking about it, and she's like, why is Nike being canceled? Not all over, like the hashtag was cancel Nike.
That's
and
not
I'm like,
fair.
Nike has nothing to do with this. They sold these shoes in 1997,
Right.
and now this other company, so of course Nike has to sue them and stick up for themselves.
Right, Tori, that's their propriety.
Yeah,
Propriety? Propriety?
Property?
No,
You said
propriety. Propriety. No, propriety.
No, just saying it over and over again doesn't make it.
Leave me alone. Go ahead, Tori.
I just think Lil Nas X, first of all, that was adorable. Lil Nas X has been so smart, I think, about the way he's handled this, including this tweet I wanted to read you. Someone wrote about his shoes, "It's sick and depraved and an attempt to destroy our society." And he wrote back, "There's a mass shooting every week that our government does nothing to stop. Me sliding down a CGI pole isn't what's destroying society." And I liked what he had to say, and he was provoking people into, that's what good artists do. However, to take a Nike and stick a pentagram on it with some blood is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Of course you're gonna sue. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
And Tori, I don't think that Nike swoosh is what people bought it for. It just seemed like the shoe, you could even copy the shoe in a bootleg way.
He didn't have to put it on.
Why did you put the most distinctive logo on the planet?
True.
Like, I didn't get that.
I know.
All right, so we're going to move on to Katie Couric. She skipped the makeup chair for her recent People magazine photo shoot. The veteran journalist appears in the annual Beautiful issue Makeup Free. Katie, who is 64, said the experience made her feel, quote, liberated and vulnerable. She told the magazine she hopes shoots like this expand the idea of what and who is considered beautiful. Watch.
We've been so conditioned to see young faces that when you see someone who's older, it's almost like, and we need to stop that. We need to start celebrating and appreciating women at every age.
This makes me so happy. In fact, I'm going to put pressure on our producers over there, both of them executive producers. One day soon, here comes Rob, the cameraman. I'm going to put this on camera. Can we do a makeup-free episode?
I thought of that.
Yes.
To say it.
Can we?
Yes.
Yes, so we are going to do, okay, so we just decided right here, right now, we are going to do a makeup-free episode soon. And I'm really happy about this.
My forehead is shiny now.
What?
I don't know if can we do some prep for that?
What do you mean?
I don't know how it looks.
You're the one that has eyebrows. I have no eyebrows. I'm going to do a makeup-free episode with no eyebrows.
We better wait for a day where Tori's off. I'm kidding, Tori. I'm totally kidding.
I know. Wait. That was really funny. Let me just say something about Katie Couric really quick. When her husband died of colon cancer, she went on air, unheard of at the time in the 90s, and did a colonoscopy on air. So I'm very proud of Katie Couric. Let's not forget, she's a pioneer in sort of saying, like, you want to take a look at this? Take a look at this. So good on her.
But is this, if we did do that show, which it appears like we are, like realistically, like real talk here, Katie Couric's 64, Sam, you're 40, Tori's under 40. Is that kind of mocking what they're doing in some sort of way? Like, would we get any pushback from that? I'm just asking like an honest question.
I hope not, because there is a difference between being 40 and being 64. So I'm with you 100%. But I will say, when I have no makeup on, even though I personally might be okay with it, broadcast on camera, I am going to feel insecure with sparse or sparse eyebrows and no pinch in my cheek, so to speak. Blush. Oh, I can't talk when you two are looking at me. I can't. I'm done.
Well, that's going to not bode well for the rest of the show.
Sam, you are adorable. I think it's a great idea, and I love what she's doing. And don't forget that Katie Couric is bringing up something. There's a reason that there's only young people that you see on TV. That means that there's a lane for older people on TV.
Well said, Al.
She looks like a lot of Americans. Honestly, she looks like a lot of Americans, and I think that there's a lane for that.
There is a lane for that.
So somebody do it.
We are going to do it.
Not us. I'm saying for older Americans on television.
She did.
She just did.
Just her,
She just did.
I'm sure. Okay. Coming up on DBL, we are catching up with actress Mira Sorvino from reliving her Romy and Michelle days to what she's been up to now. Do not miss it. And our DBL staff is working hard at home during the pandemic. We miss you guys. When COVID is behind us, we'll hopefully be reunited in the studio. We'll be right back.
My new team.
We want to take you on an inside look at the courtroom where the trial will take place. Because of COVID concerns, there are limits to many things you would normally see. Starting off, everyone will be required to wear a mask. Only one print reporter and one TV reporter are allowed in each day. So all media will share a stream of 3 cameras set up in the courtroom. One will show the podium where both the prosecution and defense attorneys will argue their sides. The next will show the tables where Derek Chauvin will be sitting with his team, the others 4 state attorneys. The third camera will show the judge and any witnesses being examined. Here's something that has not changed. No one from the jury can be shown at any point, but they will be present in socially distanced seats. Others in the courtroom will be a judge's clerk and a court reporter who will transcribe the proceedings. Also new during this trial, no family members can be shown in the gallery. That's the area that is normally full of spectators. Only one member of the Chauvin family is allowed each day, as well as only one member from George Floyd's family. So you won't see a normally packed courtroom for a high-profile trial, just a few key people.
Welcome back to DBL. Today, we are talking to an Oscar-winning actress, activist, and mother of 4. Her newest role in the faith-based film called The Girl Who Believes in Miracles is coming to theaters this Easter. We can't wait. Please welcome Mira Sorvino. There she is.
Yes.
Hi. Hi, Mira. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to talk to you about your new movie. But first, I'm already receiving comments from our viewers saying that their all-time favorite film is Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. So 2 decades later, this movie is still referenced. Kourtney Kardashian paid homage to your character just last Christmas. Mira, what do you make of the increase in nostalgia for this particular movie of yours?
I don't know. I think the movie stands the test of time because people always relate to being a geek in high school, and they always relate to loving their best friend and being true to yourself, which is really the ultimate motto of the movie, being true to yourself and having fun, you know, in your own zany way. And I think that that individuality and love message is sort of resounding and timeless.
Mira, very quickly, first of all, thank you for being here. We need to get serious. Yesterday, we talked about Woody Allen's recent interview on our show. You worked with him in 1995, but have since separated yourself from the filmmaker. Did you catch the part where he said actors who did this to him are only persecuting an innocent man, and how did you take that?
I have no comment on that, but I think that Dylan Farrow and Mia Farrow were incredibly brave. I saw the whole documentary, and I think that speaks for itself. He's a guilty man, and he abused his daughter, and I had no further comment on that.
Thank you, Mira. And we're going to switch gears back to your movie. It's a faith-based film. What made you want to do another faith-based film?
Well, I'm a Christian, and I believe in God and Jesus, and this is a very sweet, lovely movie. And, you know, faith-based movies are their own genre. They're not as artsy, they're not full of violence, they're not full of thrills, but there's a big audience for them. And I think that this particular film, The Girl Who Believes in Miracles, really hits the sweet spot in what people want out of a beautiful Easter movie. It's really about the risen Christ and what is possible if you truly believe in God. And it's, you know, characterized, embodied by this little girl who is, her faith is just so pure and open and simple that she believes there's no limits to what God will be able to do, and he does it through her for a time. And, you know, it's just a very positive message, even though it is a faith-based movie, and it starts with the sermon, as a lot of them do. The story is not preachy, it's just loving and beautiful and very heart-wrenching, actually, but with a feel-good ending. So I do encourage families who like faith-based movies to go see this. And Austin Johnson, who plays the little girl who becomes sort of a faith healer in the story, is incredible. And I love Peter Coyote in it. He's wonderful as my dad. My part is very emotionally harrowing, but it's really about a mother's love for her daughter, for me.
Mira, I got a funny story because I did a faith-based film last year during COVID, and it's coming out next year. I'm not comparing myself to an Academy Award-winning actress or anything. But I did it with Mira Sorvino is going to be in the movie that I'm in. And I told my mom I'm doing a movie with Mira Sorvino. And she's like, I love Mira Sorvino. She won an Oscar. And I was like, no. I think it's Mira Sorvino. I think
Jeff,
Mina
you
was
also
great.
told your co-host that too.
Yes, and when I got to set, I was like, do not say Mira. Do not say Mira.
Yeah.
Mina.
In fact, Mira, I went home and I was like, oh my gosh, and Mira Sorvino is fantastic. But
yes.
you know, we all love Mira Sorvino as well at my household, and we were all so excited for you, Jeff.
Yeah, so at least we're in the same genre. We're in the same genre, so it might not be my last mistake.
Well, say hi to your mother for me.
Hey,
you already did. That's
Mira,
amazing.
what are you doing? Anything traditional on Easter Sunday? What do you guys do in your household with 4 kids?
I'm not really sure what that looks like this year still. Maybe we'll find like an outdoor service somewhere. The kids come downstairs and find the Easter baskets, and they get all excited, and the baskets are larger and larger each year. The bunny is very generous. We've started doing this one golden egg as like the main prize, you know, which has some toy in it. But, you know, it's also the sort of egg count, who gets the most.
Exactly.
Oh, good pun.
I said exactly. Okay. Mira's like,
pretty normal. We're pretty normal people.
Well, we appreciate you, Mira. We really do. We cannot wait to see your film. We strongly encourage all of our viewers to make sure that they watch it. So another reminder, The Girl Who Believes in Miracles is out this Friday. We'll be right back. Thank you, Mira. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We all
DBL DBL.
I'll just be really 100. We always pull the curtain back on this show.
The most diverse team of voices in daytime.
You know I love you, and I feel that.
We're known for our authentic take.
I'm thrilled about it.
I can't.
You aren't shocked.
Have you guys all gone insane?
And no holds barred approach.
And that's the problem that we're talking about.
Get real.
On what everybody is talking about.
You just gave me chills. Thank you for that. I feel like you just spoke for every single viewer that is watching right now. Welcome back to DBL. It's finally spring. You wouldn't know it here in Denver because it's snowing. And it's time to think about your home. Did you know a well-maintained yard actually helps protect against common homeowners insurance claims? We're chatting about it in today's Bang for Your Buck presented by The Hartford. First, clean out your gutters. That prevents blockage that could send water into your home. Second, regularly mow your lawn. It can lower wildfire risk, especially if you live in a dry climate. And finally, plants within 5 feet of your home should be fleshy and moist. When it comes to quality and affordable home insurance, the Buck's got your back. The Hartford will be happy to provide you solutions. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6085 or visit thehartford.com to learn more.
Now,
are you guys really good at maintaining your yards?
I was about to ask Jeff, because I think you have a nice sized yard. Do you have like a lawnmower or like a riding mower? I always wanted a riding mower because my dad had one.
I got to show you a picture of my lawnmower. It's the most embarrassing thing. I bought it for $80 and it plugs in and I'm not even joking. It looks like Lawson's toy. It's this big because I'm so cheap and I was buying everything else. I'm like, a lawnmower too? Now I mow my lawn with this little Lawson lawn. I got to send you a picture. It's super embarrassing.
We got to pull
and I
up
won't
money.
get a new one.
You know what we do?
What?
We call the boy next door. He comes over, $10, mows the lawn.
What year is this?
There was some.
What?
I could go down a weird story.
You used to mow
You were reading the
lawns?
script and it got a little weird. Now you
mow
said the
lawns?
neighbor's coming over to do things.
Wow. Wow. We'll be right back.
It got very 80s movie in here.
Promotional consideration.
We're talking about Ever Given, a 1,300 12-foot long container ship that's nearly as long as the Empire State Building is tall. The 220-ton ship was grounded at the Suez Canal for 6 days.
So why are we talking about this? Well, there are claims that indicate the blockage caused the global economy to lose $400 million an hour. Yeah, so let's verify. Could the grounding of Ever Given have caused the economy to lose $400 million an hour?
Our sources, Paul Hong, Distinguished University Professor of Global Supply Chain Management and Asian Studies at the University of Toledo, and Lisa Anderson, founder and president of LMA Consulting Group, a supply chain consulting company.
The supply chain was already out of alignment. So now that we have the Suez Canal, it pretty much means that it's gotten even more out of alignment.
First, let's talk about how much trade goes through the Suez Canal daily.
There's about $10 billion worth of trade that actually flow through daily.
And Anderson agrees. A little quick math actually gets us to $416 million an hour of total global trade halted during the grounding of Ever Given. So we can verify that this claim is true, but actually underestimates the amount of total global trade lost per hour. So what about these claims that toilet paper and coffee will be in short supply because of Ever Given? Well, according to both Anderson and Hong, that's false.
People think that toilet papers are coming from China mainly, but I think toilet paper is primarily from Canada and Mexico, so toilet paper would not be that affected.
Anderson agrees that toilet paper won't be impacted like it was during the beginning of the pandemic.
Toilet paper was more of a panic buy, so people aren't going to necessarily do a panic buy over the missing materials.
According to Hong, 10% of the total coffee trade comes through the Suez Canal, so he says that industry could be slightly impacted.
The impact of a coffee is really there, but it may not be huge.
Over the last few months, Anderson says manufacturing and shipping costs have increased across multiple industries, so any increase in coffee price will likely have more to do with those than the grounding of Ever Given at the Suez Canal.
They've been absorbing some of it, but they're also starting to pass them on to consumers. And I think that for sure it is likely to lead to some inflation over time for sure.
So we can verify, yes, the claim about the grounding of Ever Given costing the global economy approximately $400 million an hour is true.
But there's no need to worry that toilet paper will be out of stock, and unless your favorite coffee comes from Vietnam or Indonesia, you're in the clear as well. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Tomorrow on DBL, a mystery seared into a small community's mind after a fire chief's wife dies in a horrific inferno.
Dad called and said, Kim, Nanette's dead. And I just, what? And just immediately started screaming, they killed her.
Was it an accident or cold-blooded murder? That's in True Crime Chronicles. And we're catching up with entrepreneur and former reality TV star Bill Rancic, from helping Juliana beat cancer to winning The Apprentice almost 20 years ago. He's telling us what he's learned along the way. That's tomorrow, right here on DBL.
You do not want to miss it. Welcome back to DBL. I have a fun moment to show you guys. So last night, little Miles, just roll the tape.
Go Miles! Go Miles!
Yeah.
You got it!
Yeah. Come here.
His first steps, you guys.
Those are his first steps?
Those are his first. We could tell that he was about to make his first steps because he would stand and just kind of like stand there all awkward for like 3 seconds. I was like, quick, Mark, get your phone out, get your phone out. He's going to do it. And sure enough, he did it.
Wow. That's a memory for life.
We saw Leighton's first steps,
I know.
remember?
I know. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's something that's tattooed. Like, you'll never forget that.
I know, and Sophie was so proud of him, Al.
Yeah. There's a lot of good in this world. I know it's a tough time, but just videos like that, I can get through Tuesday.
It's like Tori showing up to work in the morning.
Yeah. Call that happy hour Tori.
DBL is due every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Good.